Welcome, everybody, to the VESL Conference Qualifiers for Spring 2024 Valorant. My name is Pyro J. I'm here with Captain Ahsoka. We are in the final week of qualifiers. Teams are vying for those top 8 position in their conferences. We're here with the Western Conference. And Captain Ahsoka, I hope you got your deagle ready, man, because it's time to get the shots firing. It's time to get these teams to battle it out.
Yeah, I don't know about the Deagle though, but I mean, I'm gonna be bringing in maybe the Sheriff. But no,
Okay.
actually, you know what? Check that. I'm not gonna be bringing in the Sheriff because I am terrible with it. It only works if you get head clicks, and I simply do not. That's why I stick with the Frenzy. You know, it's the ultimate spray sidearm, or Lordy, watch out for the Shorty. Again, you can never go wrong with the double barrel shotty. So that's always fun. But anyway, getting back to your regular scheduled programming, we do have some teams on the docket tonight. Pyro J. As a matter of fact, we got 3. So we got
Being the final week of qualifiers, you're seeing some of those undefeated records. Teams are vying to be top 8 in their conference. That's who moves on to playoffs next week. So those undefeated teams want to stay undefeated. Those teams that are just shy of it have to pull out some wins this week. So the pressure's on, Cap. Teams need to get those W's today. It feels like it's now or never.
Oh, it most certainly does. As a matter of fact, we got to remind everyone what it is that they are actually playing for. You got to keep in mind that, yes, you can make your spot at playoffs, but then you can make it to regionals. And again, there's a lot of money on the line just for the conference playoffs. If you get first place, that's going to be $500. And then if you go to regionals, first place at regionals is $4,000. Second place is still $2,000. And then if you go to states for state championships, you're talking about third place for $1,000, second place for $3,000. And then the first place state champions for Valorant get $10,000. That is a big chunk of change, Pyro.
It's a grand prize of $10,000. You pull it all together, it's $45K. So money being spread around the high school players here competing in Valorant for VESL. It's wonderful to see. But you know what else is good to see, Kat? Some good old Valorant. I want to see the players out there on the maps. We've got Bind as our first map between Gaston, EC, and Hibriten. So even though I've got Split behind me, I'm ready to get to this first map. Let's go ahead and get to it. 2 undefeated teams battling it out for this first map. And now we are getting it started. Hibriten on that left side, Gaston, EC on the right side. I'm curious, Cap, on Bind, do you prefer to start on attack or defense?
I mean, honestly, it really doesn't matter to me on what side that I start on. It just depends on how I finish. But one thing that I am glad that I am seeing is that we're getting Clove. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Again, we haven't really got to see a lot of action with Clove just yet. But one thing that I am excited to see is that we are getting a little bit of the double controller comp coming from Hibriten. And again, I'm going to publicly announce my bias. Any team that has Viper on it is immediately going to gain my favor just because Viper's my favorite agent, hands down. But meanwhile, very interesting. You look on the other side for Gaston, and they're bringing the double initiator meta, which again, that one right there has been solid. I think the double initiator meta has stood the test of time, but I really have been enjoying the more recent double controller meta. That has been a lot of fun, and especially on Bind, because when you go to the sites, it is very wide, particularly on A. There are so many avenues on A. It's such a wide space with some boxes in the middle. So being able to have that extra coverage, I think, goes a long way. However, I have yet to see Clove really in action as the main controller for Gaston, and it's going to be interesting to see how Clove fits in for Hibriten, part of the double controller composition. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup.
Always fun to see that new agent in action on both sides. We will see that Clove, as you mentioned, One thing that I kind of want to talk about as well are the duelists. Ray's always just a for sure agent when you get to bind, but that's not what we're seeing. And, you know, funny enough, the Rays on Gaston is calling themselves white 10s. 10s was actually one of the ones to dominate as Yoru on bind, and that's who we see on the Hibriten duelist side. So I can't wait to see how they use that TP magic with the teleporters, getting into those cheeky spots in back sight, and seeing if the Yoru on Hibriten can do it better than the Rays ever has. We're gonna get started here with round one, Hibriten starting on attack.
And now you see, if there's anything that I am known for, it's for my perfectly mid takes. And one of those takes is that I prefer Yoru on a double duelist comp. I don't know how I'm going to enjoy them as the solo duelist for Hibriten, but we'll find out. As already you can see, Clove from the side of Hibriten did manage to get an elimination thanks to the elimination feed, and there goes another one. This Clove Hatsune is absolutely popping off, my goodness, and now it's a 4v2, making a 4v1 as the spike continues to tick away, and just as early as it started, it is now over. Round one in the books.
You wanted to see the Clove fired up, Cap, and guess what? We saw it. 3 kills, and then as soon as they're taken down, the one that eliminates Hatsune, I believe that was white 10s, just immediately gets traded out. So Hatsune already a threat to this Gaston team.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I really have been liking Clove go to work because, you know, and again, another perfectly mid take, but just from my experience with Clove, it seems like they're a very offensive controller. They're a very offensive smoke. Unlike a lot of the other, again, for Astra, I feel like Astra's very defensive. Viper, a little bit more offensive for sure. But Clove, I mean, they just play kind of like a duelist, like the way they have their abilities set up. And not to mention they have the revive capability, and they can also, you know, deploy smokes after being eliminated. So again, Clove definitely kind of is a wild card, you know, when it comes to the smoke category. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of plays can come out from this new agent.
I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of the Clove, they're going to be the only agent on this A side. We saw the rotate come through, and it's already starting to be a problem for them. Honey Business does find one. Off that rotate, the plant shouldn't be a problem, especially when you've got Wingman to help you with that. Plant down. And this is obviously a save on the side of Gaston, but they're still getting the kills. Weapon upgrade here for Scuba Steve. Let's see if we can find more. Scuba Steve, no, take it down by that shorty. That double barrel that just said you loved, Cap, but Night Black in a cheeky spot, avoids the decoy, can't get the shot, gets flashed out. Will they be punished? Absolutely. Final one gone from Gaston as Hibriten go up 2.
Yeah, I was wondering what the Viper was doing there in Lamps. I mean, like, it kind of seemed like they were distracted. Like, I mean, did they unplug themselves? Because clearly you could see the opposition. Scuba Steve was walking in like point and blank. You know it's not a clone because it's not Yoru. So like, what are you waiting for? Throw something at him. I mean, you're giving away a free elimination, but regardless, that is going to be the second round, as it should be. I mean, this is literally the script of Valorant. You know, you take the first game, you know, you buy up, you take the second, but now this is where things get interesting. This is going to be the bonus round. Now, normally this one would go to Gaston because they should be able to buy up, they should be able to get some rifles, and of course Hibriten still with somewhat of a broken buy. You see some bulldogs, you get one vandal in there. So let's see how this one goes. It's going to be towards the B side of things this time around.
It will, and it was the B side of things last time as well. Everybody from Gaston was covering that B side, but then we're not necessarily prepared for the rotate. So they've got one agent over there on A. Meanwhile, it's a crash onto B. Over here at elbow, white 10's trying to hold it down while Night Black taken out by the Gecko utility. Oh, and on top of the box, Scarlet can't stay alive. Scuba Steve finds 2, and it's even at 3. Man's gonna attempt to plant here. While looking behind themselves is Yuli to find that kill. Satoru is our final member on Gaston. And I don't know about you, Cap, but they look a little late to the party.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It looks like they're getting like some type of snap directionals. I don't even know. It doesn't even feel like you're playing on a mouse, but that could just be maybe a delay in the video capture. Regardless, Satoru now making their way back on towards site. They try to get lucky with the Bucky, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the Vandal that is able to seal the deal. And now that is a bonus round going to Hibriten. That is huge. Hibriten is popping off here in the first half.
I mean, both teams are undefeated, but it's appearing a little more clear why Hibriten are undefeated. I think so far they've showcased their ability to adapt. On that round number 2, where they were entering onto a site of fully covered B, they rotated back over to A using that teleporter. This time around, though, great usage of utility together to take down the members of Gaston, including everything that we saw with the Dizzy and Gecko utility. So let's see if we get more of it from Hibriten as we do look to split on A. Everyone sending themselves through showers. Oh, fighting against the decoy is honey business. I don't think they're going to stay alive from that. No, first one down.
See, and this is why when you give up the bonus round, it's so difficult because, again, you're literally forced into another eco. And that's why it's called the bonus round, because it's a round that Hibriten, for the most part, probably shouldn't have. But that was a great use of the burst stinger from long range by Scuba Steve, but it's simply not going to be enough. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you win the bonus round. You more or less are going to stampede the round following. And now we're going to get our first time out, and you know what that means, Pyro J. It's time for the Pyro and Atsoka show as we get our first time out of the evening. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, we've seen you with the split background. What is your favorite map? What is the best map in Valorant?
Ooh, you're gonna hit me with that, huh? Not Breeze. I'm just gonna start with that. Okay, Breeze has not been fun for me. I'm gonna throw out the Sunset. You know, I think
Really?
everybody, because everybody loved Ascent, and nobody can get enough of Ascent. So Riot was like, okay, you know what? Here's Ascent 2.0. And I think it was done really well. I love playing Cypher, and the way you can control B site is like no other. So I have a field day as Cypher on Sunset. It's a really good time. We're in that Cypher meta, so why not take advantage of it? But Cap, I'll throw it right back at you. Where are you leaning?
Icebox, always.
Ooh, good
Yep.
pick. Yeah, well, you
I've
talked about
always
loving
loved
the double
Icebox.
controller, so no wonder you like Icebox.
Also, anywhere where Viper's viable, and Viper on A on Icebox just goes absolutely nutty. So again, absolutely love Icebox. Also, I just love the aesthetic. I like anywhere that's like Arctic, a lot of snow, maybe in a mountainous region. It's kind of my jam. You know, it's my favorite little area. But my other favorite little area is round 5 on Bind. How about that?
I think we should get it going. Yeah, it's a well-timed timeout there from Gaston EC. Down 4. They have their full buy this round. So it's like, okay, team, let's get a plan together. Let's execute together. They have 1 ultimate online. Meanwhile, 3 on the side of Britain. Let's see if they utilize any of those, including that Clove ultimate. So we may see that revive come to form. It is a stalled approach on the B site. Their Yoru has already attacked the site with their ultimate. That dimensional drift scouting out a lot in the back site, and so it's up to Britain to say, okay, do we want that information to attack site, or do we want to give way from it? They decide to rotate around to A.
Yeah, and they got Clove with them. But look at this. Take a look at Garlic with a huge cutoff on the rotation. What a read. And they're going to be throwing out the util, my goodness, just to try and stall a little bit. Wingman gets triggered by the tripwire. And I got to say, that's one of my favorite buffs that they were given for Cypher, is that now the util being, you know, Wingman. Also, you know, you get the doggo from Sky that can trigger the tripwires. And Garlic, again, making the most out of their util, just stacking up eliminations, going to end the round with a 4K. Garlic will take those all day, and that is the 5th round win going the way of Hibriten.
I mean, yeah, can we talk about how Garlic just took on the entire rotating team? Like 4 kills, never left, put their tripwire down, got the Wingman, sprayed through it, got a couple kills, and yeah, I mean, I guess Satoru did a good job of taking out the tripwire with the shock dart. Definitely want to see more of that from the Sova, who's still waiting to come online at 0 kills, but making that util work. But you've got to take down Garlic, and they just were not able to do that. Another great adaptation and rotate coming out of Hibriten.
Yep, well, let's see if Hibriten can keep the mojo going here as we get ready to head into round 6, which should be somewhat of an eco round for the other side there for Gaston. As now you can see Dizzy does go up high. It's going to be that Gecko trying to watch Lamps. They go for the swing, but no! Garlic continues to hit shots. That's going to be the second elimination on the round for them. As you can see, the spike does get planted thanks to that Viper wall. And this is what I was talking about. The controls and the smokes on the A site make a huge difference.
Making a huge difference is Garlic as well. You're totally right. You know, the controller, the smokes, and you even saw on the execute of Hibriten, it was Garlic to utilize the cage and take away the short side from anyone peeking from lamp. So virtually everywhere is smoked, right? There's nowhere that you can really surprise this Hibriten team unless you want to pop flash out of it, which I guess the Gecko could do with the Dizzy, or you could use that Sova with the dart to get some recon through it, but it's just really hard to retake against that util as we go up 6 now from Hibriten. Gaston hoping that this round is where they turn the tide.
Well, let's see if they can as they get ready to head into Lamps. Lamps, one of the most contested spots. Lamps in showers are the most contested, but you can see they're making their way through showers now, and they're going to throw out the Yodu clone. It gets bitten on hook, line, and sinker. As now the boom bot goes out, not going to be able to do much there, and poor White Tins has to get out of dodge and avoid the danger.
Spraying through that smoke as well, and actually getting a kill out of it, so that's 2 up already from Gaston. Probably their biggest lead in terms of the agent diff so far. You already see that respawn coming out from Honey Business. There's the Caldwell we were searching for. They do need to get a kill here. And you see Hibriten go completely away from sight. So that Clove is not going to stay alive. There they go. Didn't get the kill out of the ult. So they are down. Great maneuver there from Hibriten to escape the ult. And now they're going to re-hit the site.
Yeah, this is interesting. At first, I thought they might go for a rotation, but instead, they are just going to regroup and get to, and you know, again, find one another. And I think that's probably the best strategy. Is now the spike does get planted, Thrash is out, but they have to go through so much smoke to try and find anybody. And now here comes the showstopper, and it does connect with Nia Gox, and they get traded out accordingly. But now take a look at this: Scuba Steve being the sneaky Scuba Steve, and both of these players now are just cornered, backs against the wall. Not much doing there. Great round coming from Gaston.
And they got one. They finally got one. Gaston, well done. A defuse comes through in time. Plenty of time remaining there for them. And I feel like, you know, as soon as you saw who was it from Hibriten? Garlic, that was it. I almost named him Gaston. As soon as you saw Garlic go down, I'm like, yeah, they've got a good chance here. Garlic has been a menace the last couple of rounds with their 4K, with their perfect shots, and this is what we're starting to see in Valorant, Cap. I keep mentioning tens, but coming off that duelist role and going onto controller, a lot of the times playing Omen, you can have your star player playing a different agent than your duelist. Feels like Garlic. I want to see more out of him, even on that Sentinel role.
Yeah, well, let's see what they can do. As it looks like it's going to be a B hit this time around. We have seen this approach from Gaston time and time again, and they're really good at rotating on the fly if need be. But I can't recall the last time we actually seen a spike planted on the B side. Already, you do see that Clove going to be smoking out hookah, puns intended, and now just waiting for it to dissipate, and it looks like the crossfire will begin.
Holding their positions for Hibriten. Mentioned they love to rotate if needed, and they're teasing with that idea. I also love that you mentioned we don't really see a plant on B. Hibriten don't love to play retake on that site and end up having to rotate back to A quite often. They actually have this read ready to go. Scuba Steve, not expecting the already be pushed out, but a great response there in terms of getting the kill and stalling out this push. Dizzy's gonna be out by the Gecko from Hibriten, but Gaston fighting back, kill after kill, finding it, and they're gonna be up 5-2 in agents. What do you even do here if you're the last remaining of Yuli? You've gotta get 5 kills. There's gonna be one. Others are weak here. Dizzy's out. Oh, and trying to take down the Dizzy. They end up under the fire of the rest of the team from Gaston. A little bit of momentum now for the defenders.
Yeah, that is a big win and a much needed win as well, because you got to keep in mind when you're coming back from that 6-0 deficit, you got to hit in terms of economy, and you're not going to do that unless you win 2 consecutive matches. You have got to win 2 in a row. Like getting one here and one there, that's not going to cut it, especially, you know, when you're already halfway through the first half. So that right there is just a big win for Gaston, because now look at the economy. It's starting to balance out even further still. As you can see, Hatsune now has to try and, I guess, come up with a broken buy or even just a full save. They're only going to be going with the frenzy. Shout out to the homie, because we both enjoy those. I mean, I even said it earlier. I'm not good enough to go with the sheriff, but I can make do with the frenzy.
You can spray and pray and run and, you know, dive, bob, and weave away from those sheriff shots, right? It works quite a bit. But let's see how it works this time around. Scuba Steve, the current fragger for Gaston early college, just kind of holding on to this side, waiting for them to push out of shower. It's not happening quite yet. Hibriten, obviously, if they want to attack this A site, they're going to be utilizing those 2 controllers. Garlic making enough noise on B side, trying to pull some agents over. They will pull one, but it's still a majority of those Gaston early college players holding the A site and holding Lamp closely as well. All that util fired away from Garlic. And it still acted as a decent decoy, but still, I mean, not enough to pull all of Gaston away.
Yeah, but you know what? I do like this call, though, because if you are going to send out a lurker over there towards the B site, you know, you want to hit somebody that can definitely get those shots and, you know, get head clicks. And Garlic has been proving themselves pretty formidable in the 1v1. So, again, that was a nice call there. But you can see that Hibriten is having a difficult time here on A, as already they have lost one in the trade. And now looking for the wingman to get the plant, but they don't, thanks to Scuba Steve, who once again is just lurking in that corridor, and they cannot seem to put them down. Scuba Steve finds another until finally they're traded out, as now the plant does go down, and now it's a 2v3 retake in the favor of Gaston.
Gaston did a great job of not taking the bait on the B side, but have they done enough? The plant eventually taken by Garlic after he took down Scuba Steve, who was decimating the whole entire lobby. Garlic now the final one remaining, but he can't do it all. He got the kill on the top fragger. He got the plant down, but he couldn't take down everybody from Gaston. It's a 3rd in a row for them.
Yeah, and now you see this should be the full save round I'm expecting coming from Hibriten, but no, it looks like they still had just enough there to come through with a broken buy. Again, I'm really impressed that they still have this much economy after 3 rounds of losses. So again, they know that's why they're calling a timeout. This is going to be the last buy, without a doubt. They lose here, they're going to have to force an eco. So this is why we're seeing the timeout. And now once again, it's time for the Pyro J and Etsoka show. This is everybody's favorite, you know, during the timeout.
It is. It is. Everyone loves the intermission here, and I think Hibriten will enjoy an intermission from the game as well. You talk about how their buy, you know, starting to get broken, but this is what 6 rounds in a row, 1 from Hibriten, will do. The economy will stack so far in your favor that you can keep buying and buying and buying. But nonetheless, it's been a great response from Gaston, especially during that last round, how they just held the reinforcements onto their site that was going to be attacked, Cap. Like, to have the wherewithal to just stick to your position and hold your ground was really impressive. I think the mental has been the most impressive component for me for Gaston.
You know what? I'm glad that you took control of the Pyro Jane at Soka show, because I had a nasty question lined up for you. I had a doozy, and be prepared. And I'm gonna give you time to resonate on it, because I was gonna ask you who is the worst agent in Valorant, and we're gonna save that for the next time out. That's gonna be the next question, so you marinate on that, because it's a doozy. I'm telling you, that's a nasty question. You know, the worst agent in Valorant. Like, I'm gonna have to think on that one too. But it's a good one. So y'all stay tuned for the next installment of the Pyro Jane at Soka show, as the timeout has whittled away, and now we're getting ready to get right back into the action. But again, big timeout, big call coming from Hibriten, and you know what? I think it couldn't have come any sooner, because they know if they go down this round, it's an eco.
I mean, the other thing with this timeout is they're able to strategize around the ultimates that they have active, right? So they could use that Viper Spit if they get the spike down, which hasn't happened too often, honestly. The retake from Gaston doesn't come through that often. But the problem with that is, if they do set that all down, the neural theft could be huge against them the one way, by the way. massive for Night Black as they stop the push from Hibriten. So only 3 agents remaining, but still 2 of them that have those ultimates, so they could invest here. Gotta be careful because, oh, excuse me, that's Night Backa, who is still holding this site and holding their ground. They will not be moved off, Gap.
No, they won't. And again, you know what? Gaston has done such a great job at holding the B site by using just Nightbacka. Again, Nightbacka has been the main one holding down that site. And again, they're reminding me of Garlic whenever Garlic was able to take on these 1v1s and really being able to hold site by their lonesome. More often than not, it's a KJ that has to hold down site by themselves. But again, with the recent change, not even so recent, but with Cypher coming back into the meta, it's nice to see that they're able to hold site by themselves. And now they put an end to the wingman as well, as now another elimination goes the way of Hibriten, and we have a 3v3.
We do. Nightbacka still holding back sight, but about to be pinched by just about everybody. Ooh, that Dizzy did its business though. Hatsune on low HP, eliminated by Scuba Steve, traded out. And there you go, enough time to defuse. A retake. It's not often seen from Gaston early college, but when it is, it comes through.
I was about to say, who oh, okay, whose smoke is that? That's Cloves from Beyond the Grave. Again, we have to remind ourselves that Clove can throw out smokes after being eliminated. Because I'm thinking to myself, whose smoke is that? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was like, okay, that, again, we have to be reminded of all of the abilities that Clove can do. And again, that's actually really, really cool. I mean, they are such a unique controller, and I think they bring a lot to the game. But now, somehow, what is going on? How is Hibriten still buying?
I want to mention that, yeah, they are buying. I think one is a frenzy, so that, yeah, this Hatsune is going to be chilling on that. So you're right, the buy is finally broken. I think Hibriten are relying a little too much on this wingman. This was the 2nd or 3rd time in a row that they got caught out trying to play with the wingman. The wingman went down, and they were put in a very desperate situation, trying to push the site and plant the spike. And wow, Scuba Steve saw that rotate coming completely. They're gonna throw down some util just to stall out the push from Shower, and they're calling over the reinforcements, Dizzy and Thrash in hand. But how about the Thrash on the attacking side, trying to clear sight? Thrash gets down, hasn't scouted out anyone from Heaven, so they could go down from this. White 10's trying to hold the line and keep them out of Shower. Wingman's there, ready to plant. Will White 10's be able to wall bang them down? No, finally the Wingman takes them down. Scuba Steve blocking the dimensional drift for just a moment there as they hang in backside.
Yeah, and again, not a bad play, because now at least you got the spike down. You know, you got one of the hard parts over with. The only problem is that you took a lot of damage in the crossfire. You have the Viper and the auto from the side of Hibriten, and they are looking a lot worse for wear. And now that intel from Thrash lets them know that they are in fact in Showers. Big 2K there in mid, getting punished from Lamps. Is now Scuba Steve able to pick up one in Showers. Ooh. The wingman goes out, gets the stun, and now we're seeing a player swing. 3v2 now here in the post plant. Let's make it a 2v1, and then there were none. Nightbacka coming clutch, but still not enough time to defuse. It's a win for Hibriten, but it was an expensive win.
It was so close there. The wingman actually stunned 2 players from Hibriten, including Hatsune, who somehow stayed alive, got the kill, pushed through Shower, and then took out the diffuser just in time. That was winnable, so winnable for Gaston EC. The win condition was right in front of them. That double kill just barely unfound. So those are the rounds that come just about as close as you can call it. Shout out, by the way, from Yuli Neal. I think they finally utilized their Thrash, their wingman at the right time, not leaving the spike high and dry. Really impressive to get that win. Let's see if they get the final one in this half.
Oh my goodness, that was a big intel there coming from the side of Gaston in order to get that read through the smoke. That was huge. I'm pretty sure that was a recon dart, but at the same time, it also could have been Cypher's camera that was able to pick that up. Regardless, that is a big elimination there. As you can see, Hatsune next on the chopping block. No, I'm sorry, they activated their ultimate and couldn't find any. As you can see now, Nightbacka from up on high. The Viper's Pit finally goes out, and this is the best time than any to try try and use it, trying to finish this half out with a win. As finally they do try and go for a defuse here, coming from the side of Gaston, and this is going to be difficult now for V2, trying to stay alive. Big intel coming out. They know there's at least one in lamps. There they go. Neogox trying to hold on. They're able to find 3, and now looking for the 4th with the right click on the classic. Neogox come in clutch to secure the win for Hibriten.
1 remaining, and that's all that was needed about 3 rounds ago. Because the Neural Theft and the Viper's Pit were both active. I was talking about that's exactly what you got to worry for. If you throw that Viper's Pit down, the Neural Theft will scout you out, and you'll get decimated in your own ultimate. Yet that's not what happened. Somehow Neogox was not shot down, isolated their fights, took out everybody in the pit, and snagged that 8th round win for Hibriten. Unbelievable 4K coming out for Nia to hold that round.
And that's why Viper is my favorite character and my favorite agent because of that right there. I mean, my goodness, who else but Viper is bringing that type of action, bringing that type of smoke? And again, that's why the Viper's Pit is arguably one of the better ultimates in the game. I'm not going to call it the best ultimate, but my goodness, it has viability. And speaking of, Skyline here, just going to be chilling right there in front of the teleporter, and I don't blame them as they're going to skedaddle now back the other way. And already that was a clean pick coming from Hibriten to start things off.
Yeah, that was really nice. I mean, you know, they started out the first half with 6 wins. They want to do that again. Mine tends to be attackers heavy. We saw just the other day, Evil Geniuses took a win after going down 2-10 from defense against Sentinels. They did the 2-10 curse, which, you know, unheard of in Valorant. Players love to be attacking here on Bind. Let's see if Gaston love it just as much. They don't love B-site. Rotate's gonna come on through. And this is a scary rotate, Cap, because you still got that crossfire held from Hibriten on A.
It's funny that you mentioned the 10-2 curse that EG pulled over Sentinels, because there is in fact one person who knows about the 10-2 curse, and that is Time to Light, another colleague of ours, quite the talented shoutcaster as well. And you know, they were the first that I've heard to make acknowledgments for that 10-2 curse. And honestly, you know, it happens the most when I see them on the mic. So very interesting. But regardless, right now, Hibriten they're putting on a show here on the defensive side of things. I mean, 2 back-to-back round wins. Well done.
Yeah, really well done here. Hibriten, again, just holding their lines that they know they'll win from. Right? There's no real reason to rotate here. They're very much trusting in the fact that they can win their gunfights, and if they play together, they'll win out on those pistol rounds. That's historically what they've done. That's what they'll continue to do. So really important start here from them. You do see some interesting buys from Gaston EC. I would love to see a save and for them to full buy the next, but that's not what's happening. Hey, we'll see if they win this attackers round. Maybe they'll surprise me.
Well, let's see, as it will be round 14 now underway here on Bind. Hibriten slowly but surely making their way on, and then look at Honey Buns again coming through with the Sheriff. And again, it's been really interesting to see what this player can do with, you know, little to no weaponry. Even while blinded by the Dizzy, they still connect with the Sheriff.
That was nearly unbelievable. The wall bang and then the blinded kill. I mean, I am dumbfounded. Honey Business with another kill here as they upgrade their weapon to that Spectre. Yuli trying to choose the right time to take this fight. There was no right time, seemingly. Even with a decent weapon, Ares comes out from Garlic. And Gaston EC, I said if they won this round, they'd surprise me, and color me surprised. Garlic still finds that kill on the Honey Business, so this is still winnable here. Oh, for Hibriten, they especially are, especially getting that kill onto the Gecko. Saturo, final agent remaining. They've got to send something out to get this kill in time. They cannot do it. No lucky with the Bucky Cap, not this time.
Yeah, unfortunately not. And to be honest, when you're getting lucky with the Bucky, more often than not, it's not going to happen on the Sova either. You know, the Bucky tends to go nutty when you either put it on a controller who can smoke, hide out in the smokes, or when you put it on a duelist who can rush in, break line, and then get those close quarter combats. Like Raze, for example. I've seen so many great plays with Raze on a Bucky, or even, you know, the Judge. And, you know, but unfortunately for the Sova, you'd like to see more LMG play. So we'll see as we continue to go forward. Hibriten now once again with a 6-round lead, but keep in mind they had a 6-round lead in the first half, and then that gap began to close. Let's see if Gaston can start to close it here in the second half.
May need to. Otherwise, things will get hairy as we continue on here. Do see some buys coming through from Gaston, so with that, it could be winnable, though. The Ares still working out. You wanted the LMG from the Sova. How about still on Garlic? As it makes its way for the first kill. They know hookah is quite frequented by Gaston, so they continue to send their sight lines that way. Skyline, they try to get something cheeky here, right? Under the entry point. Gaston EC, they're very timid around this entryway, and for good reason. Just about everybody stacked from Hibriten there. Skyline does find the first on the white 10s on the side of Garden. Night Pocket trying to get a kill with the Bulldog, may be able to do so if Garlic peeks out and through. Honey Business without a flash, pushing through the smoke is just nearly impossible. Night Pocket does find that kill, knows where Skyline is. There we go, Honey Business getting it started with Night Pocket. They have the agent advantage, it's maybe a round they need to win now that they have a chance to do so. They've entered sight with the spike. Night Pocket trying to make their way in for a plant. And everybody's seen from Hibriten, so the advantage is certainly there from Gaston. Oh, the swing right from Neon to Honey Business does turn the tides, though. Spike is planted. Night Pocket with the neural theft out. Gonna get some information. Neogox does send Satoru back out in the way, though. Night Pocket, can you stay alive? Not quite. Difference maker from Neogox sends Hibriten up in the lead by 7.
Yeah, once again, Neogox just coming in clutch. And then where did the Odin come from, by the way? Like, again, that's a pricey buy to be coming out of the woodwork like that. I mean, where are we? The third round here in the second half, and the Odin gets dropped. And I'm pretty sure it came from the opposition, too. I'm pretty sure they came from the other team because, again, you know, I don't know where that was coming from. That should have been Hibriten's, like, somewhat of a broken buy. And, again, you saw them. They were coming in with less than formidable weapons. But once again, it's time for the Pyro J and Cat Minnesota show. So once again, heat is on Pyro. Worst agent in Valorant. Who is it?
You know, when we talk about worst agent in Valorant, I like to change the wording a little bit. I'll say the least powerful agent, because the way Riot Games loves to do it is they introduce a new agent and they say, let's buff the heck out of them so that people are forced to play them. So I'll say the least best one, the agent they've done the worst job at buffing and making viable, I'll still say is Deadlock. And we've actually started to see some Deadlock usage recently in VCT. I saw them on Lotus and actually did a great job holding the stuns on the B and C choke points, utilizing your wall wherever you can, even on attack when your opponents are trying to retake. But to me, with this Cypher meta in place right now, with KJ still being as good as they are, even with the reduced turret range, I don't see the viability personally of Deadlock. I'm gonna have to go there.
And you know what? I'm going to have to agree as well. And you know, there's a reason I worded it that way, because I am the vestige of villainy. So I definitely, I love making those implications. It's so much fun. But regardless, we're getting into the next round here. And this is going to be round number 16 on the board. As already you can see some big eliminations. And it looks like Honey Buns there was able to use their ult to find one. That was a big elim. But now take a look at this. The swing is going the way of Gaston as they find yet another elimination on the board. And that Yoru is very hurt on the side of Hibriten as the plant does go down. And this is going to be what appears to be the first successful plant on the side of Gaston if they can close things out.
Yeah, and I just don't even know for Hibriten, do you invest in the dimensional drift when Skyline has such low HP? I mean, yeah, I guess it's good for information if they really want to make this retake work, and they'll do just that. 2 found there in Lamp, and Garlic follows it up with a kill on the white 10s, but gets traded out, and that trade might be enough. Blindside TP already against the Clove. They do get the TP out. Neogox needs to get a couple kills over here in Shower, but they're held by a crossfire. Both of them go down, and it just wasn't enough. There it is, Gaston EC around they desperately needed.
Now remember, this is what happened in the first round too. There was a 6-round disparity between the two. And, you know, this is when Gaston came alive in the first half. The question is it going to happen again here in the second? They were able to get one round down, but there's still a very, very long way to go. Hibriten still with a solid chunk of change to work with here. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I get to see the Outlaw in play, and it's coming from Skyline on the Yoru.
This is the time to do it. You know, if you think it's early enough in the half where not everybody is buying a heavy shield, you can get that kill on one shot, and especially if it's a headshot. Skyline with one, but not for two. The first shot on the honey business doesn't take them out completely. That full shield was there.
Yeah, and look at Honey Buns now. Like, they only have 10 health to their name. That's why that Outlaw is so dangerous, because, you know, it might not be able to eliminate off the first shot alone, but it leaves you with next to nothing. I mean, you got 10 health left to your name, and now here comes Ulanil. Again, I apologize if I butchered that, but regardless, Neogox now gonna be faking the defuse, but they have a 4v2 post plant. Hibriten looking really strong here as now they find all of the remaining players from Gaston, and that is going to be another round win for Hibriten, and now they should be on match point.
I think you got to worry here because, I mean, they're on match point, and look at everybody from Hibriten on their ult point. You've got your Gecko, you've got your Viper, you've got your Cypher, all on those ultimates. And I mean, especially when you talk about the Thrash and the Neural Theft, that those two ultimates in particular are great for retake. You've got full buys, you've got full shields from Hibriten. Honestly, I say just let Gaston plant, because your post plant is going to be ridiculous. I think that's actually what they're going to do. They're going to have this Viper's Pit popped onto A site. So here it comes. And then everybody else almost is being held on B. So what Hibriten are doing is trying to push everybody into their stacked site of B to finish out this map.
You know, that's the call, but look at Skyline already getting a big blind, following it up with the elimination onto White Tins on their main fragger. I mean, not even necessarily a main fragger for sure, but their main duelist is what I was getting at. I think it was Scuba Steve that is actually their main fragger. They've been doing pretty well getting head clicks, but regardless, you have that entry that is no longer there. I mean, that's what Raze is for. Now Skyline picks up another from up on high. They're just not going to be able to push Gardens, not against Skyline.
I love that positioning. It just looks like Yoru should never be there, right? But somehow finds a way to take that cheeky spot. Meanwhile, Honey Buns, it's been a big difference maker. Gaston EC isn't enough, though, to get into sight. Another kill there on the Garlic, but the reloading in the face of Skyline. Skyline trying to evade with the blind side and manages to do just that. Their Viper from Hibriten is going to have to rotate on the B side. And forcing everyone to B just didn't quite work for Hibriten. Gotta face this themselves. Neogox. They are absolutely capable of doing so, but are gonna face two in elbow. They find one, and that Honey Buns going to ult, gonna come back. Honey Buns searching for that kill, and will stay alive for the kill on the Skyline. And now it's just Neogox that needs to be taken down. I don't even think there's time to get this defuse and the rest of these kills. Neogox is gonna try to pop the spike, get as many kills as they can, hop on it, but the wall bang, the spray through the smoke from Scuba Steve is enough. Staying alive is Gaston.
Yeah, and that was a great play there. I mean, they invested the Viper's Pit, but keep in mind that's the only ult they invested. Meanwhile, you do have three other ults still online for Hibriten, but now the showstopper has come online for Gaston. Still, the ult disparity has to be acknowledged. It is in the favor of Hibriten, but once again, Hibriten now forced into somewhat of a broken buy. They are going with some less than favorable weapons, but for the most part, they have full shield. So let's see what they can make of it as we get round number 19 underway.
And I mean, from Hibriten, their Yoru did such a good job of getting those first couple of kills. I am really almost surprised that Gaston still found the win. Let's see if that Yoru starts to be that early difference maker, especially with the dimensional drift available. White 10's coming in with the blast packs. They're in the backside. I don't even think they realize that. Pushing through Lamp, they get the kill, and they pinch just about everybody. 3 kills at the beginning from Hibriten, especially with that Raze movement coming on the site.
Yeah, Hibriten taking heavy casualties, but that is also to be expected. But what a head click with the Marshall. Skyline showing that they know how to snipe. My goodness, first it was the Outlaw, now the Marshall, and they are still getting shots on. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's only a 4v2 post plant, but still Skyline, they're hitting their targets as now the spike continues to tick away. Hatsune trying to throw out a little bit of utility, see if they can make a little magic happen. Now going for the pop shots, not going to be enough. And I mean, Hatsune does get figured out here in Lamps, and they're going to be eliminated. Poor Yaru, all by their lonesome, and they too will be eliminated. That is a big round win for Gaston, and they begin to close the gap.
With those Outlaw and Marshall kills coming out of the Yoru, doesn't everything you see about Skyline scream Jet main? Like they chose Yoru for this map, but like in reality, they're Jet all the time. I mean, that second kill they had on the round before was on top of that one box where you just expect a Jet to be updrafted to. I love the kills coming out of Skyline. They really could be that eventual, fragger to finish out this map.
Yeah, but now things are even looking a little bit more dicey here. That's 4 ults on the side of Hibriten, but now still 2 for Gaston. Again, not bad, but still, I mean, Hibriten, I'm just waiting for these ultimates to come out. I'm surprised they haven't called them yet, but I think as soon as they go for the ult dump is when Hibriten is going to take the game. I mean, those are some great ultimates online, just ready to be used. They're burning a hole in the pocket of Hibriten right now, as it looks like it's going to be a B push.
All of these ults are perfect for retake, so I'm not surprised to see them hold on to it for now, but you can't use your ults if you're dead. Garlic goes down, trying to take out the wingman or somebody in Garden. Honeybuns is back at it with the ult, but immediately gets killed by Skyline. Says, no, get back down on the ground, you. Decoy out, kill over the... there it is. There's the kill from Skyline. A little bit delayed, but eventually gets there. Dimensional drift out. Now that the plant is there, and you've got Scuba Steve trying to hold this angle. Oh, trying to hold on for Gaston, trying to stay on this map. 2v2 after the dimensional drift might just be able to take out white 10s, and they are able to do so. One more kill on the Scuba Steve will do it, but they do have the smoke spam ready to go. There's one down. Will they finish out the rest of Hibriten? They won't. Skyline does get the kill. The defuse, it's in progress. Is it in time? No! Gaston EC, they stay alive.
They most certainly do. It is a win, but as I like to call it, it's an expensive win. They had to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at Hibriten. And you know what? It did pay off. They managed to get the win, and now Hibriten looking a little broken in their purchase power here. You do see 2 rifles online, and personally, I'm not the biggest fan when it comes to broken buys. Now, a hero buy I can understand. There we go. Now that's what it looks like we're going to get. We're going to get the hero buy from Skyline, and that is understandable. But when it comes to saving, I'd rather just go for the full save. I mean, the broken buy, sure, you can make something happen, but I'd rather go into the next round with my best foot forward. Sometimes you just have to GG and go next. And right now, Hibriten, they are looking a little shaken up. As you can see, Gaston now within 4 of equalizing here in the second half.
I agree with you. I think the full save, they have enough time to, just commit to a couple full buy rounds. Ooh, Honeybuns, be careful. Is going to be able to do a little bit of damage temporarily to their opponents, but getting out of dodge there from Lamp are Hibriten. I'd like to see Garlic come alive from Hibriten as well. I think that's one thing that Gaston have been doing a great job of, is getting Garlic out of the way early. Oh, they take out Neogox and Yuli, but immediately the agents are even because Hatsune and Skyline find their frags. No surprise from Hibriten. Scuba Steve, all decimated. Garlic gets their kill as well. This could be it here for Hibriten if they're able to eliminate Nightbaka. And they're sighted out by the neural theft. Trying to hold this, but they're going against a firing range. There's 1, 2 more needed from Nightbaka. 78 HP. 7 bullets. Skyline so low HP. If they just spray the smoke, they could get the kill.
30 seconds left.
But how could they know? 2. Holding deep sight. Spike not planted. This is not the situation you want to be in if you're Nightbaka. Eventually reloading, but giving away their position most likely to Skyline. There's the kill. 1 remaining. Nightbaka, they could pull off this 4K. Could they TP? They don't have time. They've got to get this plant down. Ended up getting spammed by the smoke, trying to get the kill and couldn't find it. I asked for Garlic to come alive here in the final round, and they do exactly that for the Hibriten victory to stay undefeated.
Absolutely. And you know what? 1v1 scenarios, there are two people I trust on the 1v1s, and that is going to be Garlic and Scuba Steve. To me, those were the clutch factors in those games for sure. But also got to give it up to the Viper as well. Again, the Viper played phenomenally, and they came through when needed. No biases from me whatsoever. You know, I'm just saying.
Neogox is crazy. Yeah.
Just calling it as I sees it. You know, the Viper double control on bind seemed to work in the favor of Hibriten, but regardless, that was a great first game. And Pyro J, it's not over. We still got 2 more to go.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. Undefeated team stays just that of Gaston Early College as Hibriten, excuse me, as Gaston Early College go down to 3-1. But we've got more awesome teams taking the route here for the VESL Conference Qualifiers of Spring 2024 of Valorant. Up next, we've got Caldwell versus Henderson. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with that match just shortly. Welcome on back, everybody. We are here with the VESL Conference Qualifiers for Spring 2024 Valorant. My name is Pyro J. I'm still here with Captain Atsoko. We had a great time casting the matchup between Hibriten and Gaston. Early college, Hibriten keeping that undefeated record. But Captain Atsoko, during this next match, we have two teams who are already a bit beaten, but still with winning records. Caldwell versus Henderson, both teams at 3-1. What do you make out of this?
I think there's going to be a lot on the line for the most part. I mean, both of these teams aren't going to want to take another loss, and not to mention that they only have one loss away from being undefeated. Chances are it probably came from Hibriten or Gaston for that matter. Gaston was also undefeated for until that last match against Hibriten. So with that being said, I can pretty much just summarize that these two are probably evenly matched teams for the most part. Do I think it's going to be as close as maybe the last match? I don't know. That one's tough, because again, Hibriten and Gaston definitely put on a show, and it's going to be a tough act to follow.
Really is. You know, you expect maybe the second of three acts to be a little slower, a little quieter, but I'm ready to ramp it up. I heard loud and clear that we're on ascent for this matchup between Caldwell and Henderson. A crowd favorite, a fan favorite, and certainly one of my favorites. So let's get to it, folks. Caldwell versus Henderson in our second high school matchup in this Valorant Conference Qualifiers for VESL. And we've got Caldwell on the left side, Henderson on the right. Let's get a peek at those agent selections.
Again, this is what I'm expecting once again, but we have seen changes being made. Again, normally it's the KJ-KO combo, but we have seen KO be swapped out for Gecko, and then you get the Sova, Omen, and then either a Jet or a Raze, and then more often than not, it's going to be the KJ in the Sentinel role. So again, it's going to be interesting to see. But those, for the longest, have been the meta picks for Ascent for a very long time. Now, I mean, we have seen some changes being made. Like I had said, you know, KO has been swapped out for Gecko as of late, but also on the Omen as well. Don't be surprised if we get to see an Ashta swap out there as well. But again, you can see that the selections are coming in, and it looks as though that it will be Caldwell that favors more of that classic meta. Again, you get the KJ-KO combo, you're going to have the Sova Odin spray on B main, you bring in the Jet, and then you round it out with the Omen. But however, on the other side for Henderson, my goodness, they're a little over the place there. They're going to be going with a double duelist composition with the Jet and with Phoenix. So again, that's something. But not only that, but they're going to be bringing double Sentinel as well. Hold up, I'm getting debated. Something's happening here. Henderson, you're playing with my emotions right now with that composition. You got to commit.
They're playing all around with you. I'm going to let them do whatever they're doing. Let's talk Caldwell. Again, you mentioned you want to see KO. We certainly get that. I'm a KJ main. So seeing this on Ascent brings a tear to my eye. It truly does. You mentioned the Odin. We'll definitely see some LMG span coming out of the Sova. I've got like 4 or 5 lineups ready to go when it comes to Sova on Ascent, whether it's retake or attacking site. They are all over the place. Inspirationalist there on Henderson does lock in the Sova, so we'll get to see plenty of those on either side. Brimstone, maybe not the most typical pick, but one I'm still a fan of if it's Ascent at the very least. And double duelist indeed. No more debating, Cap. It's Jet and Phoenix locked in.
If I was I don't know, if I was to place my prediction anywhere, it'd be on Caldwell. I mean, the meta was the meta for a reason. It is the meta for a reason. And I honestly think you should probably trust the process. However, there is one thing that defaults all meta, and that is comfort picks over anything else. I firmly believe that in every esport, comfort picks over everything. So if for whatever reason that these players feel more comfortable, for example, Quackpin, if they feel more comfortable on the brim, and if your mom, not yours specifically, Pyro, but if your mom feels more comfortable on the Phoenix, then I say go for it. If you can cook and pop off on those characters, then there's no reason not to use them. But, you know, again, if I was to make a prediction on this, I would lean Caldwell. You know, I trust the process when it comes to the meta on Ascent.
All right. Trust the process or the comfort picks. We're going to find out right here. Two teams on 3-1. Final week of qualifiers. A whole lot on the line to become top 8 of your conference. We're here at the Western Conference, and we're here round one. Henderson gonna start out scaling up cat. They're not contended against whatsoever. Had that brim smoke ready to go at mid bottom. Inspirationalist finds a cheeky pick here in tree, and that's certainly gonna open up their options here as they attack A side.
Absolutely. Honestly, going tree to A is one of my favorite avenues to go to when we're talking about ascent here. I mean, you take control of tree, and then all of a sudden you got the door that you could shut down, and then you take that and you get full control of A, which we are seeing right now from Henderson. So again, great play, just deciding to go from mid and then to tree to A, which is why you got to have somebody watching mid. I noticed that there was no one from Caldwell that was watching mid, and now all the eliminations are going the way of Henderson. My goodness, they are going sick on the sticks, and it is going to be a flawless pistol round in the favor of Henderson.
You mentioned it. You take control of tree, and the defense can do nothing but kind of allow for the site to be taken, allow for the door to be shut. The door was certainly shut on any opportunity for Caldwell to take that win. We're seeing a little bit of different strategy this time around from last map, though, at Sokari. Are you a little bit relieved to see a near full save from Caldwell in round two?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm relieved, but I completely understand it. I think it is a good call, and it makes sense because that's what you're supposed to do after you lose pistols. You're supposed to go full save. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could get a frenzy, maybe buy a little bit of util, but the full save doesn't hurt because now you're guaranteed a rifle round going into the bonus, and if anything, you do not want Henderson to get a bonus, so you have to do everything that you can to make sure they don't get it. One thing, though, is that they really have got to start watching mid, and they've got to start watching these sight lines a little bit more because once again, Henderson able to just take A and move right on in with little to no contest.
Big Dog wasn't scouted out whatsoever at the top right corner of heaven, threw out the pop flash and got eliminated as the flash was out. So that's unfortunate for Big Dog. Came really close to greatness there. But yeah, as we see, it's more decimation from the side of Henderson. 1, 2, 3, take out the shins of Pro. And Mooney might as well hit the seat here. Might as well lie on the ground, get a good nap in before the next round where you'll have a better chance at fighting against Henderson.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much you could do about that, but that's what happens when you go for the full save. You know, you got a classic composition, so to speak, which makes it even that much more interesting as to how they don't have enough to buy here in round 3. This is going to be the bonus round. And you know what? This is exactly why, because we're seeing a lot of full shields here instead of, you know, normally you go for the Vandal. Vandal half more often than not, but this team seems to be comfortable with Guardians. Honestly, I don't know about this. I've never seen a Guardian just full out buy. Yeah. And I don't know, that's a little tricky for me, especially when you look mid and you have Guardians. How do you not get the pick? My goodness.
I don't know. How do you not look at your back here? Jerry eliminating everybody from Caldwell. We talked so much about the buys. We're not even seeing them be used here. The Guardians just hitting the ground without dusting out the cobwebs in the barrel as Jerry is the one true gun-wielding fiend on the field here. Ascent, a bloodbath, and the victim is only of Caldwell.
And not only that, but that's the bonus round. That is huge. And yet we still aren't even seeing, you know, a real buy up from Henderson. I don't think they think that they really need to buy up because they have been playing fairly well with Bulldogs and Guardians and everything else. So yeah, and even in the pistol rounds too. So they've been hitting with the sidearms. I don't think they feel the need to buy up. However, we now do see the KJ bringing out the op. Really surprised that it's not going to be going on the Jet. But you know what? Maybe on the offensive side, I can understand why it's in the hands of the KJ.
Yeah, we'll see if that comes to form here. I mean, it's attack over here on the B site. Still Caldwell yet to get their first kill. Killjoy holding with this op-ad mid may actually find one with the timing, but it's a flash from Phoenix. Doesn't see anybody. KJ eventually going to rotate over to tiles and watch Cat. Still finding nobody, and okay, self-flash just to keep things honest. The Phoenix eventually still getting that kill. Everyone getting taken down at market, and Caldwell. Oh, that first blood of the round still not found. It is decimating against them here. Honestly, Cap, as we get our 4th flawless round over here, Caldwell, I'm just looking for a plan. At the beginning of the round, as time began for the round, there were still 2 members of Caldwell hanging out in spawn. Not sure where to go. I just want to see maybe a timeout or just a plan forward for this team.
Yeah, again, it is very, very tricky, but now you do see at least what appears to be a rifle round coming from the side of Caldwell. You do have Hayets, who is going to be bringing in the Guardian, but everyone else has full shields and Vandals, so that should give them a better opportunity than anything. But also, I like Quagpin, who even after having a surplus of economy is just going to stick to the Bulldog. And again, I also think that the Bulldog is one of the more underrated weapons in Valorant, but I have never seen someone choose to stick with the Bulldog over something like a Phantom or a Vandal.
Someone who has a crutch for the ADS and that 3-round burst of the Bulldog, you know, I can understand it to a point. Hey, it's me in a really tough position, and there comes the Bulldog yet again. So definitely hey, it's me, a little bit scatterbrained as they're pushed from either side on the A side. By the way, the Phoenix does get a couple kills, but they get traded. Big Dog from Caldwell, the first kill for this team, and how about a second one? Moon Destroyer finds a second frag for the squad. No flawless this time.
Nope, but that spike is still ticking away in the favor of Henderson. As you can see, Big Dog making their way up top in heaven, and this is where all aims are currently at. Literally every ADS was on the smoke in heaven, and now they're going to spray through the wall, and poor Moon Destroyer only has 2 health remaining, and again, they're going to choose to save. I don't blame them. I mean, you have a Vandal in hand. You're going to want to GG and go next, but now the hunt is on. They're going to try and get Moon Destroyer before the round ends, but I don't think they're going to get him.
Should be safe. Should be safe in Boathouse. Nothing going on over there. Moon Destroyer saving their life, saving the kill that they got, and saving, I guess, the flawless KD of Henderson here. But I think what's proven out of that round cap is that you can get your kills, you can get your frags. But again, unless you can outclass Henderson, you're just not going to get a round win against them. Some rifles here for Caldwell available, and a couple Spectres, but yeah, still no ultimates. So tough to construct a plan forward. It's a split from Henderson. They've got a couple on B and the rest on A.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting defense setup there coming from the side of Caldwell. They only have one there to anchor on towards that A site, and that's where the spike is. And now it looks as though that Henderson is going to go for somewhat of a bait and switch, as they do manage to get at least one trade out there. But again, you have the Inspirationalist, who is just there on the B site causing a ruckus. And look how much utility, look how much attention is there. And Henderson, all they had to do was take out one, and already the spike has been planted on towards the A site.
Yeah, I recall my ranked lobbies where my players are rotating way too quickly, and I'm like, somebody stay there. We need some kind of presence on that A side, but you know, stacking a site at the same time for Caldwell, you might as well try it, because not a lot has worked. Hey, it's me gonna try to take down this door with a knife, hitting some, not the others. Alarm bot signaled, and from the back comes Inspirationalist through tree, Quagpin through the floorboards, and where do you hide here? If you're Mooney. Through that window. Spectre in hand wants to upgrade, but that's the audio signal for Inspirationalist to find their fourth. 6-0. Only 3 deaths to the name of Henderson.
Okay, hear me out. Something that would be really cool in Valorant, okay, now that we reached halfway through the first round. And, you know, I was going to save this for the Pyro J and Atsoka show, but, you know, Henderson right now, they're going on a tear. So, okay, so an elimination. Imagine a Jumanji bundle in Valorant, like a whole Jumanji theme of weaponry and, you know, elimination animations. Big, cool animation is that you get the Jumanji board on the ground and then they get sucked into it.
Ooh.
That would be really cool, right?
We need you on the design team. Right.
So they should. I have a plethora of ideas, by the way.
It's necessary at this point. I really like the sprays that have like the windows, kind of, so that you can see into like an alternate reality. There's like this kind of like fiery hellscape brimstone area of one, and yeah, that kind of that's giving the Jumanji effect for sure.
here we are going now into round 7, and look at this this push from mid, and this is really what I've been waiting for, because it seems like Caldwell has been really absent on mid. Again, when they were able to push from mid to tree in the first round, there was no one here, and now you can see Henderson at Pizza. They're going to be taking advantage as they push all the way from Pizza back to the boatyard, and this is going to be the first time that they're able to plant on B. Maybe not the first, but definitely the first in a while.
First in a while. Retake's going to be difficult here for Caldwell, especially as it looks like Mooney's the only one fighting for it right now. Other two teammates still picking daisies over in mid. Turret's down. Shock dart's going to pull Mooney away a bit. That Spike D just ticking away. Bro, stabbing at this door, and it's just too much time taken. At this point, you're better off holding these guns for the next round. Recon dart out. Mooney's gone. Quagpin says, I'm not staying in here. I'm getting my kills. That's 3 for them. And hey, it's me. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to the Vandal. We'll see if they're able to take out. Is that Mooney on the other side? Or no, that's somebody on their right. Yes. They'll hold their gun. And if that's a win, great, Cap, but not many wins in the book today for Caldwell.
Yeah, at least not yet. You know, we're halfway through the first round. It's still a second half of play, you know. I mean, trust me, I'm right there on board with you, but you know, we'll give them the BOD, the benefit of the doubt. We'll wait to see if there's a wake up. But one thing that is kind of throwing me off right now is the purchasing that's coming from Caldwell. It just seems like, you know, if they got it, they spend it. But you know, we haven't really seen like a real save round from them. It's just been, you know, somewhat unorganized broken buys from the get-go. So again, you know, if they don't save or try and come up with a plan for their economy, then they are doomed for recession and depression.
I'll tell you what, it's a bit depressing there for Pro, the Silva on Caldwell, because a great lineup showcased where Henderson was, and that's been able to pull everybody from Caldwell onto this site. How about it? They get that early info. They stampede on it. Might win over, if not for this Phoenix of yore. Holding this angle. I don't think they know he's there. They have a turret posted right in front, but it's looking the wrong way. Can he get out of this one alive, Cap?
Sure. I mean, get out alive is one thing. Get out alive with the win, that's something else. And not only that, but they do have their ultimate. They can run it back, and honestly, that would be a great perk. That would be a great ultimate to call in right about now. I mean, run it back is literally made for clutch 1v2 and up situations. So if you're in a situation like this, now is the time to try and use that ultimate. However, your mom, I don't think they're gonna want to try and use it. They're gonna save it for another day, and they will be eliminated. Now that's the first win on the board for Caldwell.
I will say, that was such an impressive showing from Caldwell. The early info, everybody rampaging onto that A site. I faulted them early for those quick rotates, but in that sense, it worked out really well, having numbers advantage there. Caldwell, you've got your ults. You've got your full buys. Use them. Start stacking the momentum. This is the time to turn the tides. We'll see if they're able to do it. Okay, the Ares from Big Dog. I'm not sure about that, but let's see how it goes. He's got the flash. He's got the recon dart. He's maybe going to try to spray through main here.
Get out of my way.
Not quite. He's going to hold back instead.
Yeah, it's going to be a big focus here onto a B main. But with that being said, look how many ultimates are on the side of Caldwell. I'm surprised they haven't tried to call any of them out just yet. But out goes the nade, trying to hold off the push. Henderson now able to get at least one in the trade here. Your mom going to be pushing through the fire, getting some heals there as they get them onto Big Dog. Thanks to your Sage and thanks to the elimination feed, as the spike is going to be going down onto the boatyard.
I gotta give Big Dog some credit. I questioned the Ares, but he's the only one to get a kill so far. Moon Destroyer, along with Hey It's Me.
Last player standing.
Again, slow walking through mid. This has not worked out for them in prior events. It's not gonna work out for them this time. Yor gets one. Yor on the turn. Oh, gets taken out. A little bit of revenge there from Hey It's Me. Some redemption for their team. But again, we need to see these swifter rotations out of Caldwell. There is no win condition unless the spike takes double the time to detonate. Otherwise, you've got to wait and hold on to those guns if you can.
Yep, and hey, it's me is not going to be holding on to that weapon. They get found out in mid and they get eliminated, which again seems to be an issue for Caldwell, is that, you know, they're playing on site, which is a good thing, but at the same time, you got to have some presence in mid. Again, that's like, you know, esports in general. It often breaks down into 3 lanes, left, right, and mid, and Valorant is certainly no exception. You have to have some presence at mid. If it's even just to buy time, throw some blind shots out there, see what connects. Definitely smoke. If you're not smoking mid, then I don't know what you're smoking. Puns intended. But regardless, you know, you can see the spike is going to be setting up towards A. And once again, there is no one in mid. Not a one in mid from Caldwell.
Yeah, it's concerning.
You should run.
I mean, you also want to see a plan in order with these ultimates, as you've mentioned before, but I don't know. I haven't seen Caldwell play for retake. We'll see if they do it this time. Lockdown is going to push them out of sight, and they're all kind of hanging around this perimeter. Hey, it's me trying to hide in that other corner, but it gets taken away by the Molly. Jerry finds 2 on the other side, making 3, and they're sending everybody packing, running. There's nowhere to run, Moon Destroyer. You're out of here.
Yep, and Jerry is going to be walking away with a 4K. We take those all day, as that is a good round for Jerry. Currently the top frag going 15-2, and this is only round number 11. So again, if they are able to have another successful half, I mean, before they win, they might walk away with at least a 20K. I'm expecting that at least from Jerry to drop the 20 bomb here. But they are doing exactly what they are meant to do. I mean, this is how you go into a Sin. You want to have, you know, your main duelist there, and Jerry is definitely that. Where, you know, and again, this is another one of those perfectly mid takes, but I think Phoenix, for the most part, is somewhat of a pseudo duelist, as in they can also double as an initiator as well. They have the firewall, they have the corner blinds. So I like to think of Phoenix as more built for the double duelist comp rather than being a solo duelist. So again, I actually do like this composition from Henderson. If they are going to go with the double duelist, this is definitely the way you want to do it.
Tell you what, though, that duelist is down. Phoenix out of the way as we even out the agents here. Pop flash from Big Dog, connecting with the operator. Great work there as they're gonna flash out of the smoke once again. Having trouble finding this next agent. Throws, ooh, the 0 point. Can't actually find the kill. Waiting for the Killjoy to push out of generator, holding from this corner. Gonna get wall banged if they don't push out and try to get this kill early on. Gets Quag pin in the butt. 2 more to take down, make it 1 as Killjoy is out. Inspirationalist on nearly 1 HP. Somehow finds a kill. They can Hunter's Fury the spike if they want to, but they're not gonna play for it. They're gonna play for the kills. No! The defuse, it's gonna be enough. And had they played for their ultimate, you can imagine Henderson getting a 10th win, but instead, Caldwell, they push on it to get their points.
In the half.
I mean, Henderson, they've been doing quite a fantastic job, so I trust, you know, and not to mention, Inspirationalist is currently the second top frag behind Jerry, so I'm sure they kept it for a reason. You know, they're going to keep it cooking, but with that being said, look at all the ultimates cooking on the side of Caldwell. I don't know if they called in an ultimate yet. They are just sitting on them, and those ultimates are burning holes in their pockets, and I'm just wondering as to why they have not called them in yet. The ultimates are literal game changers.
I'm sitting here wondering the same. I have never seen it before, so that's why I hesitate there for a second. It's like I'm not sure.
Omen just used theirs. They used the TP, and now they're on.
There we go.
They're on A, so that's
Hunter's Fury as well.
I mean, it's something. They used it. Yeah, Hunter Furies comes online, but for what purpose? For what purpose? I do not know.
Bomb grenade out.
Oh, you're killing me, Cap. Yeah, I'm not sure either, but it's all right. Still 5v5, and A seems to be the aim. They're gonna run into Hey It's Me though, who's walking around, stepping everywhere, making too much noise in tree. Oh, an Inspirationalist hoping to find somebody because they have their Hunter's Fury too, and they want to show Caldwell just how to use it.
Nice. See, I understand Inspirationalist using the Aldrone there because you expect someone to normally be in Gardens, just not Caldwell. So again, against any other team, there would probably someone in Gardens, you know, just waiting to pick somebody off. It's just not going to be Caldwell, as the spike does get planted here. And now it's going to be a 4v3 retake situation here for Caldwell if they want to avoid the 10-2, as the orbital strike now comes out to clear out heaven, and Moon Destroyer is going to have to go around.
An orbital strike, always a great antithesis to the lockdown. And the Hunter's Fury eventually doing its work. Helping out Jerry get their 3rd kill. Moon Destroyer again, nowhere to go. 10-2 for Henderson early college. And you got to think about these high school teams. If they're an early college squad, they're used to exceeding expectations. And we're seeing just that, Cap, in this Ascent map.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if this Henderson early college team is playing college teams, it definitely shows, because again, you and I, you know, we get to commentate and cast a lot of talent, you know, in the academic space, and specifically that being the collegiate esports space. And you know, there is a difference. It's definitely playing up a bit. And if this early college team is already scrimming, playing, participating against some of these collegiate teams, then you know, that could definitely put them a cut above of the rest of their high school competition.
Clear they've got something above their competition here. 10-2. Henderson looking to hold it down here on the B site. This is where their Sentinel is posted, so this could be a strict advantage for them. Bird on the switch to cover both market and main. Turret's going to be found and taken down pretty quickly.
Right here.
That's Inspirationalist working from market as well. Pro going to try to get them with a shock dart. Somebody sighted out there. And the first kill on the Henderson's side against Big Dog. Big Dog most commonly gets the first blood for Caldwell. So this is already an issue. And Quagpin, the flank of a lifetime to take out the final 3.
Yeah, unfortunate. Caldwell, you know, they got caught on the flank. Nobody was able to turn in time. And then, my goodness, Quagpin is able to take that number 2 spot away from Inspirationalist, and rightfully so, as now we get ready to head into what is round number 14. And Henderson looking really strong, as they do buy up a little bit here. The big buy up for Henderson, of course, is going to be those full shields. And a spike going to be lining up towards B main.
And look at how Caldwell are reacting to that flank that took them all out. At least one of the players is looking backwards. They've set an alarm bot down. They don't want to be caught out again. And that is your mom trying to catch them out in main. 3 kills with the Spectre after the flash, and they'll be hunting for that ace. Here comes that Phoenix. Stopped by the swarm grenade. Quagpin finds one. Spraying through the swarm, though, is your Phoenix for their 4th kill. One away for Henderson to go up 4-1 in the final week of qualifiers.
Cool.
And here they are on match point. But again, you know, Caldwell, they do have a little bit of economy to work with here. They should be able to buy up respectively to, you know, get something nice on the board. And if you look at Henderson, naturally, you know, going into the second round of the second half, they're not going to be able to buy up fully, but they do get some nice buys. And the big difference again is going to be those full shields. Henderson were able to buy full shields last round, and they're able to do the same this round, and even get a Phantom, and I think maybe a Vandal there as well. As already we're off to the races here in what could be the last round here on Ascent.
We are off to the races, and notice the positioning from Henderson at mid. I mean, that was your greatest concern of Caldwell, was they wouldn't play mid on defense. This mid attack is unbelievable for Henderson. They've already scaled up Cat and are ready to take Caldwell off guard. Jerry finds one before getting traded, but Inspirationalist, that's 2 on from Cat. They're crashing in on them. There's nowhere for Caldwell to go. Big Dog finds one on the Marshall, but immediately traded out. Quagpin swings around with the Bulldog and takes the rest out. Henderson, a 13-2 victory on Ascent.
And you know what? I think something you said was very telling for that match and all, is that you had mentioned that the mid attack that was coming from Henderson was insane. It was extraordinary. And you have to keep in mind that mid attack was coming from a defensive Henderson team. They were playing defense, and yet they were attacking mid. I think that statement in and of itself, it was very telling of that entire match there on Ascent. And you know what? I think that speaks volumes to Henderson. It really doesn't matter. They are a very aggressive team. No matter what side of the spike they are on. They definitely love to play for frags, and they're good at it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to learn here for Caldwell, right? Is that, especially on Ascent, the mid game's so important. And because it was so absent for Caldwell, that was one of their biggest faults during this match. It's not the worst thing. We saw glimmering moments out of Caldwell, especially from Big Dog and finding the first bloods that they did. But all in all, Henderson Early College, a very unified team, had a plan moving forward every single round, whether it was a rotate or a full attack on the site. They sprinted this Ascent map, in which many maps on Ascent tend to be marathons. This truly was a sprint of a 13-2 win. So congratulations to Henderson, moving on 4-1 here in the conference qualifiers here for VESL. This is our final qualifier week, folks, before playoffs next week. So high school teams in North Carolina battling it out for those playoff spots. We've got one more match on the way for that. It's Gaston Early College back at it for another match against Shelby. We'll be back with that match in just a minute. Welcome back, everybody, to the VESL Conference Qualifiers. This is the Spring 2024 Valorant Series with the Western Conference. My name is Power J. I'm here with Captain Itsoka. We're bringing back Act 3 of our final match here for Valorant. And guess who is also back, Captain Itsoka? Gaston Early College. They end their undefeated streak, sadly, against Hibriten, but maybe they're back for redemption against Shelby.
You know, it very well could be. Again, you know, their record currently does stand a little bit better than that of Shelby. So again, big opportunity for Gaston to try and, you know, lick their wounds a little bit from that loss they've taken earlier and, you know, get their record back looking pretty clean. But with that being said, this is also a big opportunity for Shelby to break even with their record, because unless I'm mistaken, it looks like they are currently sitting 1-2. So if they're able to take this game tonight, then they'll be at an even 2-2. So again, big opportunity for both sides.
And you know what? I didn't mind what Gaston Early College were doing in the last game. They did go down 2-10 in the first half of Bind, but they had to play defense. I mean, it's always difficult defending on Bind. They started really bringing it back on attack, and I feel like we just didn't see the pinnacle of Gaston Early College. We didn't see them at their very best when they sort of find a rhythm and have a lead to work with. So I'm excited to see them on this next map of Ascent, guys. Let's go ahead and get to our final match of the day. Again, this is Gaston Early College up against Shelby in this final week of qualifiers in this final pursuit to playoffs next week. Gaston as well, Cap, gets to start on attack, so we'll see them in their full attack realm.
All right, Pyro, I'm a little confused because both sides are missing a player here. It's going to be a 4v4, which I'm not necessarily mad at because it's better than a 4v5, right? At least it's not uneven.
Oh, hold on, Gaston on defense. Sorry, I mixed that up earlier. I just saw that.
Nah, it's fine. We all do it. But regardless, I don't think I've ever seen an actual 4v4. It's either been a 4v5 or a 5v5. So this should be interesting. Playing with a player down and, you know, pretty much just throw the meta out the window at this point. It doesn't matter. I mean, I guess you still want to try and stick to somewhat of meta picks. Maybe. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, this is definitely interesting. I mean, look at you're bringing in the Phoenix. At least they're hovering over the Phoenix, which I can understand because remember earlier I said that to me, on one of my perfectly mid takes, is that Phoenix is somewhat of a pseudo duelist, so they can kind of do initiator abilities all the while being a duelist, again with the blinds, the walls, and again you have the Molotov as well. And then you're bringing in Sova. So, I mean, it would make sense if you want to try and bring somewhat of a double initiator presence without actually having two initiators. But no, they're going to stick to the Jet, and I don't blame them whatsoever. But it's going to be an interesting matchup because you look at Shelby, and they're going double duelists, regardless of having a player down. So they're going to stick to their guns.
I mean, I don't know about you, Cap. All my notes have been thrown out the window, even the ones I had about Gaston that we saw earlier today. Scuba Steve played Initiator as the Gecko. Now they're on Killjoy on the controller. Honey Business was the Clove on controller. Now they're the Jet on Duelist. Like I can't even expect the same behavior or roles. It's a 4v4 in Valorant. How do you even approach this? It's just nothing makes any sense. I also wasn't sure if we'd get an ult orb at the start of every round and increased buying power from each team in a similar way that it does occur on a ranked game. If you're losing an agent, it doesn't appear to be the case because I guess the sides are even. So, you know what, Cap? I'm sure the teams are just ready to have fun with this, and we should be ready to have fun with this too. A 4v4 in the final week of qualifiers for this VESL Conference Qualifiers in the Western Conference. Let's get it going.
Well, here we are, and you know I kind of like the spread a little bit more from Gaston. Is you know they're not doubling down. They're going to keep their smokes, their Sentinel, Duelist Initiator. So you know they're covered across the board as far as categories or rather classes are concerned. But you look at Shelby, and you know they don't have a Sentinel, so you got to wonder, is that going to make a big difference? I mean, at least not for Helois, as they're able to find one there in mid, and we got ourselves an early trade. Now it's down to a 3v3 in the first round.
I think that was Satoru from Gaston EC who went fragless during the last map. So I'm hoping there could be some maybe redemption from Satoru. It doesn't look like that'll come this time, at least in this first round. But Can Gaston EC actually respond here? Looks like Tree's the push. Here for Shelby. Lear comes out, but they're countered by the Paranoia. And surprisingly, Nightbucket doesn't push off that Paranoia. It simply stalls Shelby for a moment as they push right in. Honeybun trying to get a second kill. What that Sheriff does. Find it indeed. And heck, could decimate everybody. Will miss on the Reyna. Reyna still coming around. Honey Business found 3, make it 4. It's Honey Buns, excuse me, versus the world as they take out the whole team.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and acknowledge it. That is technically an ace. Just throwing it out there. I mean, they eliminated every player on the opposing team. I mean, that to me is an ace. So, I mean, they might not get credit for it. You know, you're not going to get the big, cinematic, the big ace, but we all know. And now that we got a timeout, once again, it's time for the Pyro J and at Soka show, everybody's favorite. And this is what I had lined up to ask you, Pyro J. Your favorite meta throughout the seasons: double smoke, double initiator, double sentinel, or double duelist? What's your favorite meta comp?
Oh, meta comp? I prefer a double initiator. I feel like your options are endless.
Tried and true.
You know, back in the day too, when Breach had 3 flashes, and maybe you could throw in a Phoenix duelist and get some Sova recon. I mean, it was just abysmal, the amount of flashing that could be done. So I feel like those were some fun days. Maybe not the good old days of Valorant, but I will say the current meta, which isn't necessarily an agent composition, but a agent themselves of Cypher, is so fun for me. I'm a Sentinel main. That's okay. I used to be just Killjoy, but I've had to pivot on the Cypher because of their one-way cages, because of their trips that don't break unless the enemies have a Sova Shock Dart or a Raise Molly they want to expend against it. It's so powerful. It's so much fun.
Yeah, as someone who started out as a Cypher main, it makes me happy to see all the changes that have been made for Cypher, because it was a time when Cypher was literally the lowest pick rate. And, who was like, the most, least effective agent, to say it politely. A time or so ago, it was Cypher, to be honest. And now you and I have agreed that it's deadlocked. But with that being said, we're now heading into round number 2 just to start things off here on Ascent. As you can see, Shelby trying to push their way into A.
Yeah, pretty sure their teammates got some flack on that shock dart, and because of that, the ends up getting some damage against them and ends up dying as well. Satoru just pushing into sight, ends up getting taken out, and hey, free weapon for defective Shucks if they want to pull that Guardian out. Would definitely be useful. Scuba Steve says, why don't you keep that gun down right on the ground where you found it? They end up retaking Gaston. That's their second round win.
Yeah, as expected. I mean, they did get the buy up, so I mean, there you go. But with that being said, they did lose 2 of their players in the crossfire, so that's going to be 2 rebuys they're going to have to make going into next. And now, as we get ready to head into round number 3, this should be a buy up round for the side of Shelby. And you know what? I think they're going to need it here. But look at Honey Buns. I mean, for a moment, they were just having a melee, so they weren't going to buy anything. But I guess they're going to settle on the Guardian, which makes sense to me. Because again, the Jet, pretty good when it comes to long distance, although they do have 5K worth of credits in their pocket. You got to wonder what they're going to be holding that for as we get ready to head into round number 3 right now.
I mean, you're talking about a Jet on Ascent where it's 4v4. You could honestly just destroy with an operator. I'll expect that later on. For now, holding on to that Guardian. Smokes out though for Shelby as they look to pounce onto A site. But look at the double generator action here happening for Gaston. Nightbucket finds 1, but eventually gets traded out. Honeybuns is down, and same with Satoru. So there's just 1 remaining for Gaston as they try to hold on to this flawless record. They won't. Shelby, clap back.
Yep, that they do, and they are going to be able to deny the bonus round. But here we go, and as a friend of mine, Vincent, a colleague, would say that round 4 is when the true Valorant starts, because that's when you're supposed to get the rifle round right. That's when you're supposed to get it. But in 4v4s, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe the rules don't apply when it's a 4v4 game of Valorant.
For the most part, you've got it. I mean, you've got nearly full buys. I'm looking at the raise on Shelby. Are we sticking with that Spectre when we got 6,600 credits? The rest of your team is buying. we're gonna wait around here because time apparently has paused as the agents are free to bunny hop as they please around the site. But I did call out that operator earlier to see from Honey Buns as they were holding on to their economy. It looks like that is exactly what's gonna come out. And I'm curious if you're holding the opposites jet on defense, Cap. You got a spot that you like to watch. It looks like Honey Buns may watch Cat from that mid-market position, mid-top, mid-bottom. But you could take that to tree as well and watch tile if you really wanted to.
Yeah, but you can see now that I don't know. Are they playing around with just to kill time? Maybe because right now, you know, they went from the op, and you can see Honey Buns now on the Vandal, which honestly wouldn't be a bad call because you still have 34 left over. Vandal is 29, so you can buy for Satoru, and then you can have a full rifle round, which is what we were saying. You know, this is usually the rifle round, but if you want to be a little bit greedy and get yourself an operator, I mean, I won't be mad at you either. You know, it's your money. Use it when you need it.
Well, they're using all this time as they need and please it. I'm not really sure what the timeout was for. Maybe we will get a 5v5 at some point. You know, Cap. That's always possible, right? We could just see two agents added into this game. I don't even think that's possible. I think they'd have to reset, but either way, it's like a fabricated timeout, you know, for Shelby. They just won a round, and that was off of an immediate execute onto A. You'd think that maybe you can kind of fake a site, move around, grab some mid presence. There was no mid presence. There was no fake. It was just an immediate execute onto a site. So you wonder for Shelby, maybe running it down is going to be the motivating factor here. But they're not telling us anything about their plans. They're still hanging out in spawn.
I'd be disappointed if they told us about their plans, to be honest. I'd be like, come on, no spoilers. Jeez Louise. But one thing we are looking at, and again, I got to notice whenever we do get the timer back online and, you know, we get ready to dive into the next round, is that there are currently 2 ultimates at the ready for the side of Shelby, and 2 pretty good ultimates at that. You got the Empress, and of course you have the revive from Cloud onto the Clove. So again, that could definitely be a game changer going into the next round, and that can honestly put them, you know, at an equalized 2-2 score line. So it's going to come down to how they use those ultimates, because the closest one to their ultimate other than those 2 is going to be Honey Buns on the Jet. If they can pick up a 2-piece or even an orb, they could be able to get the Blade Storm. So again, a lot of factors going into this next round. As you can see, we do have a little bit of dillying and dallying going on right here as we are awaiting to go into next.
Looks like Cloud's giving us our the show we asked for, I guess. Waving that gun around. Honestly, I mean, you know, this is giving escalation vibes. When you ever go on escalation, it's basically Call of Duty gun game, except as a team instead of individual. You rank up and upgrade your weapons as soon as your team has gotten enough kills. And sometimes players just pull the knife out. They just say, hey, knife fight at mid. I'll see you there. And sometimes the last weapon is a knife as well. So, you know,
yeah, famous last words, meet in mid.
Yeah. That has broken my trust. In terms
I'll be honest. There's like a rule that I constantly keep to myself when playing games online, is that I will never do what my opponent wants me to do. I mean, it served me pretty well. And to be honest, like, again, in my free time, and again, since we do have this time here, you know, I feel like we could banter at least a little bit just to fill the gaps. But in my free time on my own personal channel, I like to play Dead by Daylight, and there's a lot of times where my opponent tries to get me to do something, and I'm no. Okay, so imagine this: there's someone playing the role of killer, and they say, "Hey, come over here, I'm gonna stab you," and you're just like, "No, I'm not gonna do that."
That's the opinion of someone with experience, right? We have enough years, Captain and Soka, that we're like, the reason we don't believe them is because we've been there before. We heard it the first time. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds kind of fun. And you just immediately get betrayed and you say, never again, never again. Or you've seen a friend, you know, be betrayed in that way. It's just, you know, it's not worth it sometimes.
Be like, oh, meet in mid. I'll be like, no, I'm not going to meet you in mid. I'm not going to meet you
okay.
anywhere. I'm not telling you where I am. And I'm definitely not going to tell you where I'm going. What do you mean meet in mid? How about you go mid and I'll see if you're there or not. And then we'll see, you know, what happens afterward. But thank you for letting me know where you're going.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You know, I'm kind of surprised that both teams somehow agreed to a 4v4 because what truly are the chances that both teams didn't have one person available? Like it feels like to me one team only had 4 people and the other team was like, you know what? Sure. Let's just do a 4v4. Sounds fun. Like, you know, a little bit of a golf clap for whatever team was just like, you know what? 4v4, fine. Let's run it.
Yeah, I think it was probably agreed upon. Like, where one team unfortunately didn't have a player, and the other team was like, "Fine, we'll do 4v4." Which, you know, again, that's fair to me. That's a fair game. Not upset at that by any means, but once again, I'm not sure what it is that we're waiting on. It could be that we're waiting for that 5th player, whoever it may be, you know, trying to get back into the match. That's what I at least think is going on. But, you know, I guess we are still, you know, kind of stuck in the wait and see.
We're in that purgatory, waiting for the decision. And that's quite all right with me. I imagine that it was Shelby who maybe didn't have their extra player because we did see Gaston earlier today with 5 people there. So it does make me think that maybe they said, okay, you know what? We lost earlier today, but we're ready to go. We're ready to go and have another vie at it. I'm impressed with the patience of the players, to be completely honest. I mean, how much can you wave your gun at your teammate and still be entertained? Like, Cap, you and I do Rocket League, and when there are pauses before the game starts, you can be in a test lobby for RLCS, and you can still drive around, right? You can still hit the ball, you can still wait around, you can still shoot the ball. For these players, what can you do? You can jump around, you can scout out the map, you can take notes on the design of the landscape here, but other than that, what can you do?
I don't know. Normally, especially on Ascent, when, you know, I'm stuck in, you know, situations like this, I like to try and do a little bit of parkour, you know, see what I can get to, see what I can't, try and jump from place to place. Again, if you look at the back of the spawn here for Shelby, there's like a bunch of tables set up. So I like to try and jump from table to table, you know, just a little bit of parkour, you know, just for the gigs. Parkour. Yeah, just to see what you can do. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'll try and walk along the wall there, and even so, I might try and jump off. I know I can't, but you know,
you know what?
Just trying it out.
I have a couple things I like to do. Number one is, I don't know why, it's just very satisfying to throw my gun off the map. So I'll buy a classic, which is free, toss it out. Buy another classic, which is free, toss it out. Just see how far off the map I can toss it. And then a second thing is, on these maps, they've had very unique places where they've got their stuffed animals set up. And in particular, unfortunately, you can't go here in from spawn, but like during the break period, but over in Wine, like the far right bottom corner of Ascent, you've got this beautiful little restaurant and the little stuffed animal set up with like a cup of coffee. And it's just the cutest thing. So those are some fun things to scout out as well. But it does sound like we're going to take a small break here, guys. Well, welcome on back, everybody. If you stuck around, you just watched one of the longest breaks in Valorant ever. But we are here, round number 4. Gaston, ready to try and get a win today after they took a loss against Hibriten. And it's good to see these players back on the map. How about the Reyna? Hello from Shelby, already getting some kills here. Trying to hold on for their team, grabs a spike. Grab some space. I don't think the Jet is going to realize they're there, but the timing against the Helois. Honey Buns, a 3rd kill, and Cap, you already know Honey Buns is going to go and work for that ace. Is Nightback going to give them it? Absolutely he will. So there you go. A quick roundabout back to the map, and hopefully, Cap, we get everyone from Shelby back on the map.
I don't know. Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of waiting for a forfeit. I mean, we're already down a player, and now you have another player on the side of Shelby who isn't playing. So you might as well be down another. And unless we're trying to boot up a 3v3, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the side of Shelby right now. Maybe it's that McDonald's Wi-Fi is just not connecting. Maybe someone tripped over a power cord. I mean, I really have no idea what's going on over there. It's unfortunate, though, because you do have players on the side of Shelby who do want to play, who do want to put up their talents onto display, but it's just they're just not having a good day for whatever reason or another.
And look at Honey Buns already nearly in Shelby's spawn. They actually walk through Cat, so that's all the information they need to know that Shelby is B main. And so you can sort of expect a pinch play here. Honey Buns does take out the AFK Rays. So we knew it was a 3v4, but now Gaston know that as well. Information on the B side, no one playing site. So at this point, we're going to see the full retake from Gaston and a plant available for Shelby.
Yep, and there they go. At least this time, we're seeing Shelby get the spike plant down, so that is going to be a little bit of extra money. You cannot forget about the spike money. It is a little bit of a bonus. It does help. And now you can see they are trying to protect here into the post plant. Defective sucks. He's trying to lay down a little bit of cover fire there as Cloud is able to find one onto Honey Buns. And now here comes the push from Gaston, as now only the lone Sova remains, and they're going to try and go for a very sneaky flank.
Satoru thought it would be sneaky, but now they're stomping through main. Recon dart out. Trying to get some information here. Should be able to scout out one, and with the ADS, not able to get it onto their doppelganger on the other side. Instead, Defective ends up getting the kill, and 3v4, 4v4, Cap, whatever you want to call it, a win's a win.
Yeah, it most definitely is, and that is a win going to the favor of Shelby. And now I'm still waiting for as far as what I was described, that their name was Teehee. Waiting for them to get back into the lobby, and hopefully we'll be able to join the rest of their team soon, because again, this is still a fairly even matchup. It's 4v4 technically, and as of now, the score is nearly tied. It's 3-2 as the Bladestorm does come out for Honey Buns.
Coming out, and so is the Sheriff, so a lot of options for very accurate shooting. Got the gunfire out. Honey Buns going to that wine spot that I talked about was so nice. It's got the stuffed animals right behind you. Honey Buns, just take a look backwards so we can get a look at it real quick. Oh, there's one on the left side. Nice. Very cheeky position here to take from wine. One knife out for this Bladestorm. Do we think it connects? It really could. Oh, no. Sheriff Surprise does get the wall bang, but not the kill.
Like, can you imagine if you had that information, like, while you're in game, that, oh, you actually landed the headshot? I mean, you should know. I mean, there is an audio cue, there's a visual cue, but to know how low your opponent is, I think if they knew how low the Sova was, they might have went for the full send. I think that would be interesting if you got that intel. I mean, I'm glad you don't, because there is such a thing as too much intel, but it would make for some interesting content.
We might get too much intel again from Gaston, as they may take out the last from Shelby from AFK, but oh, the spawn kill instead comes from Helios, as they do get that kill. Honey Buns, final one remaining, and it's a 1v2 essentially. Honey Buns, again, had found that wall bang, but not the kill. Will that headshot find its form on the sheriff?
Gun here.
Oh, weapon upgrade. Right, it logs, picks it up. Was it a Bucky?
Enemy
It might not
kill.
matter. Kill there onto the Reyna. 1v1 essentially. There they are. Scouted them out. Kill there on the Cloud, but there is the ultimate, and they've got the Bucky in the hand. Just need to land their shot. There it is. The second one is on. And the win for Gaston. As long as the spike defuse happens in time, and it does, is there. Clutch from Honey Buns.
And they got a free Phantom and now a free Vandal out of it. I mean, GG, that is a good round. Honey Buns definitely came in clutch. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting them to do it. Not that I doubted their abilities by any means, but you know, when you're going in that 1v2 scenario against the spike clock, that is just a difficult win to pull out. And you know what? They managed to do it. And not only that, but they went up against the Clove ult as well and still managed to come out on top. And again, that is a very clutch win. And honestly, clutch is an understatement. That was a top tier performance. And when you look at their eliminations right now, they got 13 on the board by their lonesome. So right now, you know, you just got to give it up to the Jet from Gaston. They are playing on another level. And there you just saw live what is called the Captain Caster's Curse. I speak up on someone and they instantly get eliminated.
And that happens quite a bit in Valorant. You get overheated, you get really confident, and times it can be overconfident. Helios run through tree, hit that door, one posted in heaven, and that's exactly the spot that Helios is watching but cannot connect on the shots. Instead, Nightbaka returns fire with the Phantom. Now scouting out the Cloud, shots fired through the wall, does land on this Clove. Clove can't get around the Shrouded Step from Nightbaka, eliminates them instead. Some cheeky movements from the Omen.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate, and it's kind of sad to see whenever you have a player that's having tech issues. But if there's anything that I have learned in the world of esports, for the majority, there has been special occasions with some type of exceptions being made. But for the most part, tech issues or not, the rule book in most cases does say to play on, and that's what we have to do here. No exception.
No exception. I also want to call out the fact that it's the first kill out of 2 maps from Satoru. It was on the AFK raise, but a kill in my book is a kill, Cap. So we celebrate that. Satoru, maybe that was the kill to open the floodgates. Or not. They do die over there in main. Helios instead trying to run through Speedway, gets decimated by the swarms and Honey Buns. Scuba T follows up with a kill. Cloud basically the last left here. Shelby has to take out 3, and it's not gonna happen. Take out that raise and spawn, and you've got another round win for Gaston.
Yep, that they do. That's exactly where they're going. They're going to be going right for that raise just so that way they can end the round and probably do a little cheekiness too, because apparently that Jet is getting up close and personal to that raise, just waiting for them to take them out. And there they go. It's going to be with the melee. Of course. How else would you do it other than a good old-fashioned knife to the back?
I feel like you get more credits, like more money in this game from a knife kill. So you might as well. You might as well if you can.
Actually,
well,
for as long as I played Valorant, I did not know that.
Well, also maybe don't quote me on it. I might Google that just to make sure. But yeah, either way, you might as well go for it if you can, even if it's just for the style points. But
I wish you could throw it. I wish you could just throw the melee. I said I wish you could just throw the melee, but then you know that's what Blade Storm is for, right? You know, that's what the ult
That's
is
right.
For.
You've got an ult for that. Otherwise, it's Call of Duty at that point with the throwing knife. Satoru again being the victim of main here. Helios has just loved that shot.
I'm kidding with my Call of Duty boo, by the way. I only say that because X Defiant had their server test. Regardless, Cloud able to come in with a big elimination onto Honey Buns, and now they have themselves a player lead 3v2. As we can see, unfortunately, Teehee is still sitting at spawn as the spike does get planted, and now it's going to be a 2v3 retake coming from Gaston. Let's see if they can pull it off.
See Nightbaka do pretty well over on Bind again in their matchup against their opponents. So let's see if it comes through this time around. Paranoia will enable them to push this site, but now they know exactly where he's coming from.
Player standing.
Gunfire being crossed, and their teammate of Scuba Steve is out. Cloud just takes out everybody, holds down the site, and 3 agents, heck, even 1 agent with Cloud doing most of the work was enough.
Yep, that it was. And now take a look at this. We are going to be getting a timeout coming from Gaston, Gaston Early College. And now here we go. Let's see how things are going to change up now that the timeout has been called. And this might even give a little bit more time for Teehee to try and make a comeback here and hopefully find themselves back in the lobby, because they're sitting on 9K in credits. And you know, that can do wonders.
Yeah, even honestly, if you don't get a kill for your team, you can at least buy some weaponry for your squad. So I agree, that could do wonders. You know, whether it's the Odin, Ascent is popular for its wall banging, especially when you've got a Sova on your team, or an Operator. Sure, why not? You're down 3-6. You can try anything that you really want to. But Vandals and Rifles and a couple Shields is going to be the way of the move for Shelby. This timeout from Gaston EC, Shelby gets the same amount of time to figure out what they want to do as well. So here we go. Let's move on through it. As you like to call it, Cap, the Captain Ahsoka Pirate J show has come to its close.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even bother doing the show that time around, just because, you know, the bizarre circumstances that we find ourselves in for the Pyro J and Ahsoka show. Not to mention, during that first initial break that we had, I feel like that was plenty of the Pyro J and Ahsoka show. You know, I mean, us as commentators and casters, we have our ults too, and during that break, I think we ulted. we're on a cooldown.
Yeah, we really are here. You know, and Shelby's Rays still very much on a cooldown. Maybe it's like a hibernation, you know, and they come back with so much energy when they return to the game that it's just gonna be overwhelming for Gaston. Hot buns, honey buns, hello. Just trying to overpower there from mid, unable to do so. Maybe a kill on the defective. There it is. The Operator is singing.
Yep, that it is. And again, I have said this many a times. Is another one of my perfectly mid takes, but to me in Valorant, there's nothing more frightening than seeing a Jet with an Operator. I mean, maybe a Chamber, but at the same time, you know, Chamber has fallen out of the meta, but Jet has gone nowhere. Even after a nerf, Jet is still very much involved with the meta in almost every lineup.
As always, it's that one agent that just hasn't fallen out of it quite yet. That movement is peak. Coupled with that Operator, Nightbot is found out. Paranoia does land on one, not the other. It doesn't matter. Honeybun's on the other side. Does get one traded out. Here comes the fire from Cloud. And the ultimate just to delay more time off this spike, off the defusal. I don't think Nightbot has time for this. Let's see. Defuse in progress. Getting it on the way. Yes. With time to spare and apparently plenty of it. So 30 HP in a dream was all that Gaston needed.
Oh, absolutely. And now they go up here 7-3, looking really strong here in the first half, as we are nearly done as 10 rounds gone, now going into round number 11, and the buying power is still very much in the favor of Gaston.
And Satoru back on the lucky with the Bucky action. At the very least, they have kind of pushed off of B main, which is where they found themselves victim to a lot of rain of frags. So they're just going to hold out and market. And hey, you know, if Shelby does push through mid, then it's a good position to take. This time Honeybuns with that Operator hasn't quite found anybody. A-main looks to be the pursuit. Nightbot immediately going to smoke it off, and this will at least buy some time here for Gaston.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. As you can see, the Owl drone goes out. Not going to be able to get any intel off of it, but here comes the push now from Shelby, as they're able to get rid of Honeybuns. Big paranoia from Nightbot, as they're able to find one, looking for the second, but no, not going to be able to land their shots. And now it's a 2v2 as we go down into the post plant as the spike begins to tick away on A.
And it's been that aim from Nightbot to make that paranoia and kill connect, and finally it does. Let's see if it's enough for Gaston to clean up the rest of the show. Recon Dart does scout Cloud, and Will they actually go for the kill? Looks like they're repositioning instead to play from tree. And I mean, Gaston, you could still make this happen if you take your kills the right way. Satoru aiming with the shock dart. Can't get the kill. Scuba Steve does, but they're taken away before the defuse can start. Cloud does it this time around.
Round in the half.
Well, here we go. Now to see how the second half will begin to build. Are we going to go with an 8-4 split, or we're going to see a 7-5? Either of which is not a bad half for Shelby, to be honest. That is still a solid half. But with that being said, it should go the favor of Shelby here in this round. I mean, they got the Vandals on their side. There is one hero buy for Honey Buns, and then really not much else doing. I mean, maybe the Stinger, the Wingman. Don't get me wrong. That Wingman, why am I calling it the Wingman? That's Apex. The Sheriff can definitely do a lot of damage here in Valorant. So again, that Sheriff can definitely put in the work.
Hey, I started the broadcast out calling it the Deagle, so we're even now, Cap. How about that? A couple shots fired there on the B side. And whoa, there it is. The Deagle, the Wingman, the Sheriff, call it what you will. It's still getting the kills. Honey Bun's doing that as well. With a couple with the Vandal. Cloud does use that ultimate to stay alive and essentially keep the round alive, but don't they need a kill after that? They do! Oh, Cloud ends up dying because they don't get the kill after the respawn. And that's going to be the round for Shelby. It's 8-4 in favor of Gaston as they move onto the attack side.
It's so funny because what I've seen so far today from the Clove Ultimate is that people are treating it like the showstopper. They hear it get activated and then they just run away. They clear sight. And I think that's really, really funny because that's what the showstopper does. So unlike Run It Back, where when Run It Back gets activated, I normally don't see too many people run away from it. They just prepare for someone to peek and to go for an elimination. But whenever Clove hits their ability, they just run, because I'm pretty sure if they get an elimination, doesn't it keep going? Like, don't they get more time to it? Or
Yeah, I think if you get your elimination, you're just alive at that point. You've secured your second life. So, yeah, run away from it. Get rid of that Clove. Whereas on the Phoenix, you know there's going to be a second life, or that original life still coming back. So, I mean, we'll see how it works here. On the defensive side for Shelby, it's going to need to work out really well because that 3v4 still against them. It's an immediate execute from Gaston here on round number 13 to start off this second half. Spike down and maybe some kills from Honey Buns. Yeah, gets one. Immediately traded though. Here comes Hilo. Oh, there's a kill, a second one after the regain of the health, finding every single dome that they can. Nightbaka sent away, swarm grenades taken out. Scuba Steve has to attack this with the classic, can barely do so. Finds the shoulder of the Reyna, but that might be all they secure. No kill on the Sova, no kill on the Reyna, and the round won by Shelby.
There we go, and that is a much needed round as well. I mean, being able to come big with the pistols, you need any advantage that you can get when you're playing down another player. I mean, we're already down in the 4v4, but now we're down even more for the side of Shelby in a 3v4 scenario. So just being able to get that extra buying power should pay off dividends here for Shelby as we get ready to head into the next round here. Is the disparity between the two teams is now only down to 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's getting closer here. And how about this, Captain Itsoka? B site is completely free for Gaston. No price to pay here. Free 99. Nightbaka really taking their time, clearing every angle, and I love the discipline. They'll eventually find out that they didn't have to clear a single angle. There it is. Spike down, and Honey Buns loves to attack. Doesn't want to wait for the retake, wants to take the fight to them. Sheriff in hand. Can they find one? Not just one. How about 2? And now they're going for the kill and spawn as well. 3 for Honey Buns. We're not going to talk about that first shot that may have missed. It's just Helios to hold it down for Shelby. Does get some damage on the Honey Buns, but needs way more than that.
I'll be honest, those 2 initial head clicks with the Sheriff were sick enough. I mean, you can say GG, it's over, and they get the ace on top of it. Why not? I mean, Honey Buns on the Sheriff were absolutely insane. Those 2 initial head clicks were everything that I needed from the round. You know, you can just pretty much you know, leave the match now. You've done your job. Thank you for the performance, and you know, we'll see you next time.
I mean, it's 25 frags. It barely passed the first half, right? I mean, this is an insane fragging pace for Honey Buns in a game, mind you, where you have less opponents to kill. So it's a great showing. Duelists doing their job and more, magnified by 10. But oh boy, not this round. I think Shelby have learned if they take out that jet early on, they have a much better odds of winning the round.
Oh, absolutely. But take a look at this. I mean, for this next round, already you can see Gaston, our 2 players down, so it is a 2v3. Now a 3v1 and make it a 3v9. It will be Helois that is able to come through and get a 3-piece in order to seal out the round. And now, once again, the spread here between these 2 teams is 3 rounds. It seems to be the comfort zone for both of these teams, at least for the most part. But now, Shelby, they're going to get the power of the purse as they're going to be able to buy up, and it looks like it should be an eco round coming from Gaston.
And that's fine, right? You know, hold on to your economy. You've got enough of a lead that you can weigh into those full buy rounds. And honestly, the head clicking from Honey Buns that we've seen off the Sheriff is good enough to still win this round. So they're going to take the fight straight to Helios, and this time they play from main and not that cheeky corner, and that's unfortunate to see. But not for Shelby. Helios happy to find those 2 kills, and oh boy, it's not looking very good here for Gaston. They're trapped in this corner, and that's all they'll ever do here. Helios finds 3 in a massive round for them. We'll see. I mean, that is another round for Shelby. Full buy definitely going to come through here for Gaston, as they've got rifles in hand. A light shield for Scuba Steve, but I mean, that's all right. You can definitely make that work. Satoru still hanging on to that Bucky. I mean, you know, we'll see if it comes to form. Only good for 1 so far today, but maybe more to come.
Yep, here we go. Now heading into round 17. Honey Buns off the rip is able to find 1. And now looking to find another on the side of Shelby, as they are going to be aiming up and towards heavens. They get 1 behind the box. My goodness, what a shot. Is now only 1 player remains. And it is going to be Helois from up on top. Tries to throw out the leer, tries to buy a little bit of time, and from the side get turned on. My goodness, I mean, way to go out shooting, literally. That was a fantastic try from Helois, but at the end of the day, this round is going to go the way of Gaston.
I mean, Helois has been on it since the beginning. I think there's a huge rivalry right now as well. If you really want to take this game down to its micro level between Honey Buns and Helois, you're talking about the 2 duelists, or at least the 2 top fragging duelists on either team. You're talking about them taking the fight to each other as quickly as they can. It's been from B main to top of A site to anywhere they can meet each other, they will. And Honey Buns has not won the most recent face-offs. In fact, they've been defeated on the last 3, which has really helped Shelby get some footing. Maybe not on that last round, but certainly as of recent history. So Honey Buns pulling out the Blade Storm may be enough of a threat this time to take down Helois and the rest of the team.
Well, let's see if they're going to be able to do it. I mean, Honey Buns does have the Blade Storm online as they get ready to push through Garden, and they get eliminated by Cloud. Unfortunate there. The Blade Storm no longer in the side of Gaston, but now we have ourselves a 3v2. As you can see, both Knight Baka and the KJ from Gaston have their abilities. That's Scuba Steve able to find yet another elimination. Now only 1 player remains, the Sova, as they go down as well. And that is another round going the way of Gaston Early College.
Do it, Scuba. Get your 4th. Make it happen. How about it? It's too easy. Scuba Steve, we've talked about their pop-off moments before. You know, when they went against the undefeated Hibriten, Scuba Steve on the get-go was fantastic. They were the top fragger on bind for their team. Really impressive performance from them. And now we're starting to see that highlight reel come to form once again. And you know, Cap, during the Pyro Cap show, you've tossed out a lot of questions my way. And I know
I
we've had
have.
enough of the show, but I think it's time for you to answer a question, my friend. And it's the best ability in the game because there's a lot. I feel like that's maybe the toughest choice. I feel like you can choose an ultimate. You may lean on Viper. I know that's your favorite agent, but I want to see if you've got a unique pick out there. One ability that stands out to you in Valorant.
Okay, one ability that stands out to me. That is a tough one, and you know what? I do want to give it to the Viper's Pit. However, if I'm going to say overall, what I think is quite possibly one of the more underrated and or least appreciated ultimates out there, I'm going to give it to Cypher's Neurotheft because of the recent, not so recent, but the buffs it got to where now you get 2 pings on it, and also it is one of the more affordable ultimates in the game, and you get so much intel off of it, especially in clutch scenarios. It is made in broken teams, and again, you only need 6 orbs to get it, where on for the Viper's Pit, as much as I do love the Viper's Pit, I think it costs 7. So just the affordability and the return on investment that you get for the Neurotheft, I gotta say that's one of my favorite abilities.
Yeah, not only was it buffed in those 2 pings, it actually the range is greater to throw your hat onto a dead body. So yeah, I agree. The inexpensiveness of it, the viability of it, how valuable it is. So true. Good call out. I feel like the Viper's Pit is one of the reasons that Viper is still so viable as an agent as well. Not just because of their walls and their other useful mollies. That being said, we don't get the pleasure of a Viper here. Nor do we get the Cypher, but we do get Honey Buns, who is good for 3. Ends up finding Teehee and the Cloud at the same time. Will we get a 4th on the Defective here, who is scaling CT? Yes, we will. First it was Scuba Steve, now it's Honey Buns. They're 1 round away from the win here. Gaston EC, 1 round from today's redemption.
Going back to to the question about the most unique ability. I mean, if I did have to also, if we're talking like overall, like what ability I think is probably the most, I don't know. I want to hark back to the Viper's Pit. I mean, just because they're my favorite. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it go. I'm gonna let that conversation die. Regardless, though, Gaston right now, they have proven themselves today. I mean, regardless of how this match turned out, given that they did have the player advantage, they still were able to hold their own against Hibriten, and I think that speaks volumes. They played phenomenally in the first game, and they played great here in the second game as well. So I'm not going to take anything from them. Regardless of the circumstances, I feel like they did deserve this win.
Couldn't agree more. There's a reason they were undefeated when they met Hibriten, right? And they don't get to carry that title anymore. But with the win here, may very well likely move on as top 8 in their conference of this Western Conference and move on to playoffs next week, which is fantastic. I think it's a team well deserving of it. Now, it's not over to the Fat Lady Sings. Defective still alive here and has to pull off a 1v3 in a clutch situation. Has to take out Honey Buns as well. And that's been one of the most difficult things to do today. Gaston Early College take the win on Ascent and grab that 4-1 record.
Absolutely, and well done. Once again, regardless of circumstance, Gaston Early College definitely have impressed me today with their ability to play. And again, with their game against Hibriten, they performed phenomenally. And then in the second game, they still managed to hold on and secure their win regardless of circumstance. So again, Gaston still very much well deserving of their current place. And I can't wait to see more of them, honestly. I want to see them continue to grow as a team. And I hope that we do get to see them further themselves and hopefully finish out the qualifier strong here at VESL.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, this is another team that is really holding this Western Conference together, not only as a very possible top 8 team, but also one that can rep Western Conference when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to the entire high school community of North Carolina coming together at these lands for playoffs. So I'm really excited about their future. I'm excited about the future of every winner today. We had Henderson take a win, Henderson Early College. We had Hibriten take that win to stay undefeated as well. So a lot of teams for us at Soka to keep our eyes on here for the conference qualifiers. And one last time, it's okay. Thank you for joining me here for this casting action. It's been a pleasure. We've got more on the way between Valorant, Smash, and Rocket League, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly cannot get enough. But speaking of, we do have Smash tomorrow, and that is going to be interesting. And just a friendly reminder for all of our Smash community friends out there that are going to be participating, the conference playoff for first place is going to be worth $300, and the second place for regionals is $600. First place for regionals $15, and then for states, third place is $600, second place is $1,200, and then first place is going to be $4,200. So a lot on the line for our Smash players, as again tomorrow we continue on with our Smash qualifiers.
Can't wait to get that underway, folks. Tune into all VESL action here. This was just the Western Conferences. Tons of conference streams happening here on the YouTube channels and the live stream. So scout around, check out all the other channels. But for myself, for Captain Ahsoka, for Brian, behind the scenes, kicking butt, doing a great job with the production. That's all from us here for the VESL qualifiers of spring 2024 Valorant, folks. We'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day.